Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Ni, the World-Destroying Poisonous Milk. Chapter 91. After the instructor's introduction, He-Chen had a general understanding of the Battle Academy. To sum up, in one sentence, we need military merit. As long as you have enough merit, you can get almost anything. Not to mention anything else, just from the second-level permission, you can apply for a small single-family building, which requires 500 combat credits every month. Of course, the benefits are obvious. As long as you stay inside, even if you do nothing, you will have an effect no less than meditation. There are independent formations laid underground that can boost people's mental power. If you are a professional who prefers other attributes, you can also choose different types of formations such as strength and speed. Although there are formations in this kind of group building now, the effect is only 1/10. No matter how high the authority is, you can apply for a single-family villa and build a more powerful formation, but it will cost you 2,000 battle credits a month. This price made He-Chen stunned. I thought that the military achievements he had redeemed from so many points were not small, but living in a single-family villa was only enough for 2 months' rent. In addition, there are all kinds of secret medicines, fruits, props, equipment, etc., which are priceless outside, but almost everything can be found on the Zon Academy's internal network. Because this place is interconnected with the exchange network of Beizhu Battlefield. Even, as long as you have enough military exploits, you can also issue tasks and offer rewards. The tasks here can be taken on not only by students, but also by leaders like Yi Yun, and even elders from the presbytery. Soldiers, commanders, etc. on the battlefield of hundreds of tribes can also be used. In other words, as long as you have enough military exploits, you can invite the most powerful people over level 80 in the Elders' Court to take action. You can also invite prince-level experts from the battlefields of hundreds of tribes. In this way, combat merit is the most important currency in the War Academy. Of course, for general things, everyone can just go to the exchange to buy them. Even the students here have very high authority on the exchange. The third-level authority like He-Chen is considered low. Crystal coins are spent on the exchange. Wherever crystal coins can be used, war exploits will never be used. Save if you can. The instructor taught He-Chen how to use the college's internet. You have first-level authority when you come here, which means you have a lot of military exploits. But when you look at the internet, don't cut your hands. There are a lot of precious materials, high-end equipment, etc., but in all aspects of the academy, when you need to use your military exploits there are too many, keep some for emergencies. He-Chen understood. Now, he can live anywhere by himself. When I go back to pick up my sister, if I don't have enough military achievements, I won't even be able to live in a single-family building. Now, on the other side, Wang Jiaoshan, Li Nong, Lu Oni, Lin Yubing, Li Jing and others whom He-Chen knew also entered the Empire's engineering college. In the small world of experience, the top 10 were all invited by the Imperial Academy, and they chose to join without hesitation. Who would go to those so-called academies when they have the opportunity to enter the Imperial Academy? In addition to the 9 of them, there are also students recruited through other channels. This year, there are only 100 students enrolled in the Imperial Academy. This is quite a lot. In previous years, there were often 50 or 60 people, and one year there were even just over 30 students. The Academy's requirements have always been about excellence rather than excess. In addition to their group of students, there are more than 200 people who have accumulated enough military exploits on the battlefield of hundreds of tribes to gain the opportunity to study in the engineering college. Li Jing and others looked around but couldn't find He-Chen. There is no reason. He is number 1. Didn't he enter the Imperial Academy? Roni and others also searched, and indeed He-Chen was not there. Roni used her connections to check the freshman information of several top universities, but there was also no He-Chen. As a result, everyone became even more confused. There's no reason. That guy is number 1. Did he choose an unknown school? Maybe he has a special reason. You can't make fun of your own future for any reason. At this time, Li Nong suddenly exclaimed, "Hey, look at this." He pulled out a piece of information, which was sent by his brother in Zon Academy, which included the new students of Zon Academy. There were officers who exchanged their military exploits for learning opportunities on the battlefield, as well as old students who had been promoted from the engineering college. Apart from that, there was only one person specially invited. He Chen. How did he enter the Zan Academy? No, don't you need to study for at least 2 years in Zan Academy before you can apply to enter? Special invitation. What does this mean? Even if they are children of a big family, I have never heard of anyone being specially invited to enter the Zan Academy. Li Nong said. I asked, and it was personally invited by the dean. Hiss. Everyone was suddenly startled. Shish, could it be Yuan Ke, Dean Yuan? Someone asked in a trembling voice, with a look of disbelief on his face. Li Nong glanced at him. Is there a second Dean Yuan? Now, everyone finally understood. Also, except for Yuan Ke, no one else has the authority to directly invite a new student to the Zan Academy. However, when it comes to He Chen, it is reasonable for him to be invited based on his record. After all, he was a monster who had only been awakened for a month and was able to fight against the Demon King. Li Nong glanced at everyone and said, actually, it's not like we can't enter the War Academy. Wang Zongtian's eyes flashed. I know that you kid always likes to talk half-heartedly. Tell me, do you have any inside information? Li Nong ignored him and continued. In the engineering college, after a month of preliminary study, we can also apply to go to the battlefield of hundreds of tribes. On the battlefield, we can accumulate military merits. As long as the number of military merits is enough, we can exchange for the opportunity to enter the war college. Everyone was immediately excited and gearing up, eager to rush to the battlefield of hundreds of tribes now. But Li Nong poured cold water on everyone again. As far as I know, on the battlefield of hundreds of tribes, there are basically monsters above level 30. Not only are there few monsters below level 30, but killing them will not give you any combat merit. Only by capturing 10 of them alive can you exchange for some combat merit. I think let's level up first. As soon as these words came out, everyone's expressions froze. This time, not only Wang Zhaoshan, but also Li Jing, Luo Ni and others also looked at him with gritted teeth. You guy, if you talk and gasp for breath next time, be careful, we will beat you up in a group. Early the next morning, Yang Feng came to see He Chen. The little old man was still a little embarrassed because he felt guilty for not being able to help He Chen cure his sister. He Chen smiled and said, "You've already given me a lot of help. If you ask too much, I'll be fooled." Yang Feng was very pleased to hear this. He said, "He Chen, I really saw you right. How about it? Have you used the intermediate skill scroll? What skill do you plan to copy?" He Chen shook his head. He hadn't thought about it yet. Yang Feng said, "I have a suggestion. You might as well copy my skills." He Chen looked at him in surprise. Yang Feng said, "My profession is called Poison King. Both normal attacks and skills carry corrosive damage. To a certain extent, it is equivalent to a negative buff and does not conflict with your professional characteristics. And you have a domain, as well as ghost monsters. Within your domain, your attacks will make your opponents hard to guard against. With the blessing of poison, the damage you deal can be even better." He Chen thought for a moment and accepted Yang Feng's proposal. I had never thought about this before, but after Yang Feng's suggestion, his field was indeed suitable for poison-type attacks. Yang Feng released his defense towards He Chen, allowing He Chen's mental power to spread into his body, and He Chen saw his relevant skill information. Yang Feng's initial skill is called Poison Palm. Skill: Poison Palm. Poison Palm causes physical attack damage of 220% of own physical strength, magic damage of 50% of spell strength. The second skill is Poisonous Sand. Skill: Poisonous Sand. The attack comes with a range of poisonous sand, which can cause collective damage to targets in a certain area and has a certain chance of blinding. This skill focuses on the amplification effect, which directly makes Yang Feng's combat effectiveness a step-by-step leap. From then on, his normal attacks also do good damage, no less than ordinary small skills. No wonder Yang Feng is not a rare profession, but he has achieved what he is today. The emergence of this skill has directly closed the gap between him and rare professions. The skill awakened at level 20 is called Explosive Ground Thorn. Skill: Explosive Ground Thorn. Dense ground thorns appear within a 10*10 range, causing high damage. The ground thorns explode, causing secondary damage, and causing continuous poison damage. Another extremely powerful skill. Generally, a level 20 professional with this skill can basically walk sideways. But this skill still doesn't suit He Chen's liking. Ouyang Feng's level 30 skill is poison spread. Toxin spread. Toxins can be left behind on the roads passed by, and targets entering them will suffer continuous toxin damage. Duration: 30 minutes. He Chen liked this skill very much. With this skill, He Chen can completely transform into a walking harvester. I just don't know if the spreading poison is a line or an area. Ouyang Feng didn't know this either. After all, he had no domain. After thinking for a moment, He Chen decided to take a gamble. Even if he loses the bet, the worst he can do is exchange it for a clearing scroll later to wash away this skill. The latter skills have exceeded the range that the intermediate scroll can copy, and Ouyang Feng did not show them. Confirmed. Ouyang Feng noticed the change in He Chen's expression and asked. He Chen nodded. He took out the copy scroll and copied the spread of poison. Toxin spread copy. Toxins can be left on the path passed by. The target entering it will suffer damage per second of spell strength * 10%. Duration: 30 minutes. Can be stacked with other skills. Although the skill has been weakened to a certain extent, He Chen's eyes were completely attracted by the last two words. Overlay. In other words, this skill can be superimposed with his field to cause a huge area of toxin coverage. It is conceivable that when he opens the field and moves quickly, he can turn the battlefield into a poisonous swamp in a short period of time. No need to fight, just sit back and wait to gain experience. It's exciting just thinking about it. After copying the skills, Ouyang Feng began to explain the content of the activity. This event was initiated by the 8 Supremes, and the goal is to reach other worlds. He Chen's heart skipped a beat. It dawned on him. No wonder the confidentiality was so strict. He didn't learn about it until he entered the academy. It turned out to be a massive all-out war. And he wants to attack another world, with the sword pointed directly at the Demon King. As for the reason, it is not difficult to guess. The Demon King Gersher invaded the small world with arrogance during the student unified examination period. If He Chen hadn't turned the tide, the damage caused would be immeasurable. To put it seriously, it may cause a gap among the professionals in the Daxia Empire. This blatant provocation naturally aroused the anger of the Empire's top brass. If there is no movement at all, wouldn't it damage the prestige of the Great Xia Empire? Those grumpy old men always seek retribution. It was less than 24 hours from the end of the unified examination to when Yuan Ke invited him and revealed the news of the event. You can imagine how fast those at the top moved. I'm afraid the higher-ups have made up their minds to teach the other world a profound lesson this time. The supreme leaders are taking the lead. This time we are going to fight against another world. We will adopt a 3-sided battle strategy. Our Imperial Academy will be responsible for the right wing. The alliance of major forces in the Daxia Empire is responsible for the left wing. The frontal battlefield will be left to the Imperial Army. Our academy will have 70% of the students, tutors, elders, etc., totaling 1,200 people, and only 30% will be left to maintain the basic operation of the academy. 1,200 people are responsible for the front line of 400 kilometers, half of which is given to the instructors and elders, and 1,100 students are responsible for the remaining 200 kilometers. In other words, it is divided equally among each of you. Everyone has a front line of nearly 100 meters. Of course, I'm not asking you to defend such a long front, but to attack. Before arriving on the battlefield, there are 3 days for the students in the academy to spontaneously form a team. The larger the team, the longer the front they will be responsible for. Of course, you can also choose to fight alone, completely on a voluntary basis. In short, there is only one requirement. Within the stipulated time, the battle line must be advanced to the predetermined position, and during this period, not a single monster must be released. After Ouyang Feng finished speaking, the two sat opposite each other and remained silent for a long time. Ouyang Feng took a sip of tea and said to He Chen, "Although you have already experienced the small world once, when you enter the real battlefield, you will find that the beast wave was like child's play, because there are almost no monsters below level 30 on the real battlefield. So I suggest you form a team." Quote, He Chen did not agree, but he also did not deny it, but said, Teacher Wu Yang, I want more detailed information and then analyze it. Seeing He Chen being so cautious, Wu Yang Feng smiled. Okay, that's how it should be. If you make a decision now, I will feel sorry for you Meng Lang. Wu Yang Feng left a piece of information and left, and told He Chen that there was already recruitment information on the recruitment wall in the college. If he wanted to form a team, he could go there and have a look. After Wu Yang Feng left, He Chen opened the information. The information inside was very detailed. Just as He Chen was about to study it, there was a knock on the door. Hello, are you a new student? Standing outside the door was a very beautiful girl with twin ponytails. Her eyes were big, like a girl who had stepped out of the second dimension. He Chen nodded. Hello. The girl looked at He Chen and whispered. This junior is so handsome, he is my favorite. Hello, my name is Ning Yu, and I am your neighbor. The girl with twin ponytails stretched out her hand towards He Chen. Hello. He Chen nodded, but did not reach out. Ning Yu pursed her lips and had to put her hands down. I've never seen you before. Are you a new student this year? Then you're in luck. I've been here for 3 years and I'm an old student. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me. Oh, you haven't joined the student team yet, have you? How come you are always umming and umming? Ning Yu was speechless. She rolled her eyes and a sly smile appeared on her face. Are you a little nervous when you see me, senior sister, because I'm so pretty? No, Ning Yu rolled her eyes, but He Chen said something else. Junior, what is your profession? Auxiliary. Ning Yu's eyes lit up. It just so happens that my team is short of an assistant. How about you consider joining my team? He Chen did not answer. He had not yet decided whether to join the team. Maybe single brushing is more suitable for his style. Seeing He Chen's hesitation, Ning Yu laughed. Junior, don't worry, I must let you see the strength of our team first. And even if I invite you, my team members have to agree. They are recruiting on the wall now. Why don't we go and see it together? He Chen had heard Wu Yang Feng talk about the recruitment wall before. He wanted to take a look and learn more about it, so he agreed. The two walked out of the accommodation area. Along the way, Ning Yu asked He Chen questions. Although He Chen basically didn't answer, and occasionally responded with simple answers like oh, Ning Yu thought it was quite interesting. She has such a desire to talk that she usually can't find anyone willing to listen to her. But now, He Chen has listened to her for so long without getting annoyed. She is so happy. The college's area was so large that the two of them walked for half an hour before reaching the recruitment area. Many students gathered here, discussing something with each other. Ning Yu, someone waved in this direction. It was a tall girl, about 1.8 meters tall. Even taller than many boys. Although she is tall, her body proportions are excellent, her hair falls down to her shoulders, and she looks like a royal lady. Sister Yu. Ning Yu trotted over and said happily. She pulled He Chen over and introduced. This is our junior, named He Chen. She happens to be an auxiliary. Our team happens to be short of auxiliaries, so I invited her to come over. Then she introduced them to He Chen in turn. Zhang Yu, our vice captain, we all call her Sister Yu. Sister Yu is the main combat profession, swordsman. Level 33. She pointed at the other boy. Zhang Hong, the main combat professional steel creature, is the tank in the team. Level 31. Yu Yang, gunner, long-range output. Level 30. Sicily. Level 31. The last young man with blonde curly hair, a high nose, and a western face looked at He Chen disdainfully, raised his chin, and said arrogantly. Rare main battle profession, spacewalker. The profession of spacewalker is very rare, but it is famously powerful. It is said that one of the few supreme officials in the Great Xia Empire has the profession of spacewalker. The reason why the blonde young man is so arrogant is because of the confidence brought by his career. Ning Yu continued. By the way, let me introduce myself. I am the main combat professional elemental elf, level 34. I can attack and defend, and the damage is very considerable. Although Ning Yu did not emphasize it deliberately, He Chen remembered that elemental elves were also a rare main battle profession. This made He Chen quite emotional. During the unified examination, Although the students who participated were all in main combat occupations and auxiliary occupations, the rare occupations among them were very few, accounting for less than 1%. And here, in just one team, there are two rare main battle professions. All I can say is that it is worthy of being an Imperial Academy. Zhang Yu looked at He Chen with thoughts in her eyes. Are you the national champion that the dean specially recruited this year? Everyone also looked towards He Chen. He Chen said softly. My name is He Chen, level 26, the ruler of hell. Ning Yu and Zhang Yu's expressions did not change, while Zhang Hong and Yu Yang frowned. Cicely said even more unceremoniously. You're not even level 30 yet, but you want to join our team. Are you kidding me? Where is the tribal battlefield? The basic magic beasts are all above level 30. If we bring cats and dogs like this, wouldn't it be holding us back? Yu Yang also said, the level is not enough, even if you are the #1 scholar in the country, you will not be able to do it. Cicely sneered, it's not like I haven't seen those so-called provincial champions and national champions before. They can still watch the competition until they click, but when it comes to the battlefield, they are just noobs. Zhang Hong nodded and said to Ning Yu, Captain, think about it again. Even if you are an auxiliary, you have to be level 30 to be able to significantly help us. All three of them opposed He Chen joining. Ning Yu was a little angry. He Chen was invited by her. Even if you don't agree, please speak tactfully. This will make her look bad. Cicely, He Chen is just a new student. It would be great to have level 26. Cicely still didn't give Ning Yu face. He folded his arms in front of his chest and said coldly. I am also doing it for his own good. After all, on the battlefield of hundreds of tribes, if you are not careful, someone will die. It doesn't matter if he dies, but don't implicate us. I just want to give you face, otherwise I could easily crush rubbish like this to death. He Chen's face gradually turned cold. It is really rare to see someone who is confident but has such a strong sense of self-superiority. Ning Yu invited herself, but she didn't agree. But in their eyes, it was as if they were begging to join their team and be their guide. Smug fool, He Chen said calmly. He gave these people a fair evaluation. Cicely's expression changed and he looked at He Chen fiercely. What did you just say? His clothes moved automatically without wind, and the strong power of space spread from his body, almost cutting the surrounding time and space into pieces. The powerful energy fluctuations immediately attracted the attention of many people. Ning Yu was shocked and stood in front of He Chen. Cicely, you dare to hurt him. Zhang Yu also walked over, carrying a strong aura. Cicely, you have gone too far. Looking at the two of them, Cicely gradually put away his energy fluctuations and sneered at He Chen, as if to say that you were lucky today, but you won't be so lucky next time. Ning Yu, Sister Yu, I'll give you face. He glared at He Chen fiercely, then crossed his arms in front of his chest and walked aside. Obviously, he already had a grudge against He Chen. Ning Yu said to He Chen, I am the captain. I have the final say. As long as you agree, you are now a member of our wind hunting team. He Chen smiled, his eyes a little playful. Originally, he didn't plan to join any team. But now, he has changed his mind. After all, sometimes a slap in the face is quite interesting. I agree to join. Seeing that He Chen agreed, Ning Yu suddenly became happy and said that she would treat He Chen to a feast at her own expense. Of course, this is limited to food that can be purchased with crystal coins, and cannot be spent on battle merit. After the two left, Zhang Yu came to the three of Cicely and said to them. Cicely, I know you are resentful of Ning Yu letting He Chen join without your consent, but I hope you can exercise some restraint. He Chen seems to be lower than us, but don't forget, he was specially recruited by the dean. Even if you don't care about the dean's face, you have to think about it, will the dean specially recruit an ordinary person? Quote. Cicely sneered. Of course I won't let my personal emotions affect the overall situation, but I also want the team to consider it. Everyone on the team must have enough value. Zhang Yu shook her head. I've said it before, don't just look at the level. He is a special recruit from the dean, so he must have something special about him. At this time, several people from another team who had been watching here came over, and one of them said. I also heard that the dean has specially recruited a student this year. It is said that he is not an ordinary assistant, but a mutant profession. Don't forget, the mutant class is rarer than rare. Cicely was still dismissive. What about the mutation type? I have seen 2 mutation type professions before, one of which is the main battle profession, but their mutations are neither fish nor fowl. Not only have they not become stronger, but they have become much weaker. I don't think he's any better. He Chen, who hadn't gone far, vaguely heard what Cicely said, but he didn't pay attention. You will soon find out who is the trash. Ning Yu also heard it and said apologetically. He Chen, don't argue with that guy from Sicily. Although he is a bit mean, he is not a bad person. He Chen shook his head slightly. There is a saying that appearance comes from the heart, and the same is true for words. People who are mean will also look like villains, while people who are vicious and narrow-minded will have sinister eyes and a fierce look in their eyes. Just now, he noticed that Cicely's eyes were fierce, and this person was definitely not a kind person. It's just a mad dog, He Chen said calmly. Ning Yu could only shrug. It had to be said that Cicely was indeed like a mad dog at times. Taking advantage of his professional advantages, he was often domineering and acted excessively. The two came to the exchange. The exchange here is very large. It not only has the basic functions of buying and selling, but also provides catering, bounty, rest and other services. It is very complete. Ning Yu was very generous. She directly ordered a private room, a luxury set meal worth 10,000 crystal coins, and a bottle of fine rum worth 20,000 crystal coins. Eat a blue suit in one meal. He Chen also sold some unused equipment and some ordinary materials to clean up the grid space. Many materials can also complete some small tasks, and He Chen also gained a small harvest of more than 40,000 crystal coins. In addition, following Ning Yu's advice, he sold the exploration metal and replaced it with a higher level concealment metal. The hidden metal not only has the function of detecting the metal, but can also disguise oneself, lower the level of exposure, and hide one's own energy fluctuations. After He Chen put it on and tried it, the level displayed changed from level 5 to level 10 for a while. You can disguise yourself as long as it doesn't exceed your actual level. Very suitable for pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. However, in the War Academy, almost no one cares about the level you reveal on your own initiative. What everyone cares about is the gold list ranking. If you are ranked number 1, no one will dare to look down on you, even if your revealed level is level 1. There are more than 1,000 students in the Zon Academy, but there are only 100 spots on the gold list. Being able to occupy the gold list ranking in a place like Zon Academy, where dragons and crouching tigers are everywhere, is considered a master in the entire Daxia Empire. He Chen took a look and found that Ning Yu was ranked 17th, followed closely by Cicely, who was ranked 18th. No wonder that guy is so arrogant. Zhang Yu was ranked lower, at 79th, while the remaining Zhang Hongyuyang was not ranked. It can be seen that level is indeed not that important here. It is said that as long as you occupy the top 10 on the gold list, the Academy will automatically issue 2,000 battle merits every month, as well as some special props, equipment discounts and priority purchase qualifications. This made He Chen a little excited and wanted to try it. But now the war against the alien world is about to begin, so we can only wait until it is over. In addition to the top 10 on the gold list, there are also rewards for the following rankings, but there are many fewer, and He Chen is too lazy to study them. If he wants to rush, he will naturally aim for the top 10, and he can even try to be first. Ranking first on the gold list, in addition to the top 10 rewards, it is said that you will also get a chance to enter the Tower of Despair once a month. As long as you clear the Tower of Despair, you will be guaranteed a purple outfit. There is also a good chance of obtaining legendary equipment. Even epic equipment. With such a great temptation, even the elites of the Zon Academy flocked to it. Ning Yu entered 2 sets of passwords into He Chen's communicator, so that their team could communicate internally. The communicator looked like a watch, somewhat similar to the one Yi Yun wore, but it was not as high level as Yi Yun. Yi Yun's communicator has the function of a small teleportation array, while the average student's communicator, in addition to the basic functions of communication, recording, search, and exploration, only carries a 10 cubic meter storage space. After eating, the two returned to their residence together. Ning Yu chatted all the way, and she seemed to have endless things to say. After returning, He Chen took out the event information and started studying it again. After a while, the communicator suddenly rang. He Chen took a look and saw that the call was from Ning Yu. He had only been back for half an hour. Why did this girl come to see him again? He Chen picked it up and Ning Yu's voice came from inside. He Chen, do you think we should prepare some food? You don't know, the Beizu battlefield is very deserted. There is too little food to be found. Most of those monsters are unpalatable, and some are poisonous. If I suddenly think what should I do if I eat roast suckling pig? The longest time I went without supplies was for 2 months, so I could only eat those deviled fish with a sour smell. The smell was like stinky tofu stuffed into socks that had been worn for 3 days. Hey, He Chen, what do you like to eat? He Chen, why don't you speak? He Chen, are you still there? Oops, I forgot. There is a dish that is particularly delicious. I forgot to order it today. I will take you to eat it next time. You will never forget it. ... He Chen. He silently put the communicator into silent mode. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye, and He Chen finally visited every building in Zon Academy during these 3 days. He found that entering many places here required military merit, such as the Tower of Babel, the Skill Pavilion, the Training Room, etc. No wonder every one of the students here pays such close attention to their military exploits. Early that morning, everyone in Zon Academy, from students to instructors, received an announcement. Open mission. The end of the Demon Clan. Activity registration target. All teachers and students of Zon Academy. Introduction. We are never afraid of war, because the peace you want can only be brought by war. Perhaps it is luck that we humans have obtained the professional system and have the strength and confidence to coexist with everything in the world. Perhaps unfortunately, after the birth of the professional system, another more terrifying world also appeared in front of us, and that was the alien world. 100 years ago, the alien world invaded on a large scale, trying to occupy the human world, enslave, eliminate, and raise humans in captivity. However, their plot failed. Humanity defeated the alien world at the cost of 3 million soldiers killed. 10 years ago, the alien world rioted again and secretly sneaked into the human world, wreaking havoc and causing more than 4 million civilian casualties. Direct losses exceeded our country's 3-year GDP. But in the end, we still won. The price is heavy. We have 1.2 million warriors and 3 supreme protectors of all mankind. They will remain in another world forever. Their bodies have not yet been recovered by us. At the cost of their lives and blood, they severely damaged the other world and killed more than 100 demon kings. This great achievement has been engraved in the entire history of mankind. No one expected that in just 10 years, the alien world would come back again. Demon King Gersher dared to openly sneak into our great Shah Empire in an attempt to kill the students participating in the experience of the small world. This behavior is simply outrageous. We decided to make other worlds pay 100 times or 1,000 times the price to let them know what kind of existence they were provoking. From now on, the Great Shah Empire declares a formal war with other worlds. Our Imperial Academy is unwilling to lag behind. I, my son, will punish the invading enemies. Starting today, the Zon Academy will enter a wartime state, suspending all daily tasks, and opening the Tower of Babel for free. Students ranked on the gold list will receive monthly rewards. For tasks related to the battlefield of hundreds of tribes, the rewards are doubled. Also open a long-term main quest. The first stage of the main mission, capture the Sky Sea. The Sky Sea was originally a country where intelligent marine creatures lived. After being occupied by an alien world, it turned into a dead city with monsters running rampant. It is one of the most active areas on the outskirts of the alien world and where monsters are most active. Occupying this place can cut off the alien world. The retreat route of the World Monster Core. There are 196 passes and checkpoints in Sky Sea open to all students. Relevant information has been distributed, students can study on their own. Requirement: each student must participate in the Sky Sea battle at least twice a week. If the number of times is insufficient, the authority will be reduced, and 500 points of combat merit will be deducted for each missed battle. Those who complete the task will be rewarded with 1,000 points of combat merit. Ranking assessments are conducted every week. The player who has participated in the most battles 40%, successfully captured the strongholds 40%, and has the highest level difficulty 20% will be given a comprehensive score and ranked first. Get a chance to try the Tower of Despair trial. The one who ranks first every month will be rewarded with a legendary weapon. If a squad participates in the battle as a unit, the reward will be increased by 50% and will be allocated by the squad. The announcement ended here, He Chen murmured. Is it finally starting? He entered the Zan Academy early for this purpose. This is an excellent opportunity to gain military merit. Just by completing the tasks assigned by the Academy, you will be rewarded with military merit every week, not to mention that every time you kill a monster above level 30, you will get a little merit. The two are superimposed, and I believe that I will no longer have to worry about military achievements soon. There are also legendary weapons and the opportunity to enter the Tower of Despair. These rewards make He Chen's heart feel hot. In the communicator, Ning Yu's team is discussing which level of mission to take. The difficulty of the levels increases from 1 star to 3 stars. Zhang Yu was more conservative and suggested taking on the mission of 1 star first. Sisley is more radical, believing that the data on the Mermaid Tomb of the 2-star mission shows that there are a lot of monsters in it, so that they can distance themselves from other teams at the beginning and hit the first place. The two parties refused to give in to each other. After thinking about it for a while, Ning Yu decided to take on the 2-star mission, Mermaid Tomb. After confirming it, Ning Yu sent a separate message to He Chen and asked him why he didn't express his opinion just now. He Chen calmly replied to her, "It doesn't matter." Anyway, after He Chen went in, he didn't plan to come out. Any mission is fine, just go in. As for the 2 combat missions in 1 week, He Chen simply ignored them. 2 times was too few and he couldn't accept it. Seeing this, Ning Yu didn't say much. It seems that when there is serious business, this girl can still overcome her tendency to talk. Early the next morning, Ning Yu's wind hunting team came to the front of the teleportation array, and lined up with other students who had accepted the mission to enter it one by one. After more than 10 seconds of transmission, He Chen suddenly heard the sound of waves. In front of him was an endless ocean. But the amazing thing is that the bottom of the ocean is actually the sky. This is an inverted world. Standing here, it looks like a vast ocean hanging in the sky. The scene is magnificent and strange. No wonder it is called the Sea of Sky. Seeing such a scene, He Chen was also a little shocked. Is this the battlefield of hundreds of tribes? I thought it would be bloody, depressing and terrifying, but I didn't expect that there would be such a beautiful scenery. Next to her, Ning Yu held He Chen's arm tightly, shaking her head and saying, "Long-distance teleportation is really tortuous. I have to go through it every time I come to the battlefield of hundreds of tribes. It's really annoying." He Chen didn't feel anything. Ning Yu also noticed that He Chen didn't faint, and she was a little surprised. Could it be that He Chen is used to using the portal so often? After taking a short rest, everyone returned to their best condition, and then began to investigate the surrounding situation. This is an island. They are located on the beach, with soft sand under their feet, warm sunshine and waves. There was a light curtain blocking the island behind them. Through the light curtain, the scene inside was a bit scary. There are endless tombs, covering almost the entire island. There are many monsters wandering among them. Kill all the monsters here, light up the location coordinates here, and seal the entrance to the alien world. This stronghold will be considered successful. The task is very simple. But He Chen had read information about this level. What seems like a simple task is actually very dangerous. In addition to the wandering monsters, the mermaids hiding in the tombs have actually become puppets. What they have to face is an extremely terrifying number of enemies. Not only that, after the boss appears, all the dead monsters will be resurrected again. It's like they have to fight twice. If what just happened was strange news, then there was an even worse problem that was now in front of them. On the beach in the distance, several light doors opened. This means that other professional teams will come in. Because it is an all-out war against another world, not only the Imperial Academy but also many higher education institutions are involved. However, under normal circumstances, other institutions will take the initiative to avoid battles involving the War Academy. Firstly, the strength is not at the same level as that of Zan Academy. The second is to avoid conflicts between students. There is only one possibility that there are students from Zon Academy who have accepted the mission and dare to send it here, and that is foreign universities, warrior guilds and other forces. Therefore, the faces of Ning Yu and others looked a little ugly at this time. Ning Yu asked Cicely, who was proficient in the power of space, to investigate. Soon, his voice came back from the communicator. Currently, there are 3 light gates open, and the teleportation gates have all been newly established. Judging from the location, one is the Four Islands country, one is in Europe, and the other one. This one seems to be very close to Daxia, and it should be the Banksea country. Quote, someone's out. 2 teams came from Banksea country, 1 team came from Four Islands country, and 3 teams came from Europe. They found me. Cicely cut off the communication, and after a while, with a spatial fluctuation, Cicely came back. As soon as he appeared, he frowned and said, let's abandon this stronghold. The opponent has too many people, and their level is no worse than ours. He deliberately emphasized his rank and even glanced sideways at He Chen. Ning Yu was silent for a moment and looked at everyone. What do you mean? Zhang Hong and Yu Yang agreed with Cicely. That country has never dealt with us. I'm afraid the people who come here are not good-natured. That's right, we were the ones who came first, but there are still so many people here. They are probably coming for us. Zhang Yu's eyes turned cold. If not, kill them. It's not like this has never happened before. Cicely sneered. We're not afraid, but some people are too low level, and we're afraid they'll be killed if they come up. After speaking, he glanced at He Chen. Everyone was waiting for Ning Yu to make the final decision. Ning Yu took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, if we give up this mission, we won't be able to take on other missions within 3 days. Not only will we waste a lot of time, but we will also fall behind other teams. Besides, if we quit, wouldn't it make the professionals in those countries laugh at us? Sha Imperial War College. War. Now that Ning Yu has made a decision, the others said nothing more and prepared for battle. Zhang Hong said, He Chen, aren't you an assistant? Give us a boost. He Chen said calmly, I forgot to tell you that I am a negative buff auxiliary. It works on the enemy but is useless on you. Cicely cursed secretly. Trash. He Chen's eyes suddenly turned to him. I advise you to keep your mouth clean, otherwise I will kill you too. Cicely seemed to have heard some joke. Kill me, are you dreaming? You can ask me to take a step back, and I will kneel down and call you Grandpa. Okay, you said so. Seeing the tense situation in the team, Ning Yu hurriedly stepped forward to smooth things over. Everyone, please stop fighting among yourself. Now we have to concentrate our efforts on dealing with other teams. Since He Chen has a negative buff, that's even better. Weakening the enemy is equivalent to increasing our combat effectiveness. He Chen, it's up to you. He Chen nodded, and then, a violent spiritual force surged out of his body. In an instant, a dark world full of despair, desolation, loneliness, and depression appeared, shrouding everyone in it. Several people were suddenly shocked. Even though He Chen didn't target them, several people still felt irritated and were unconsciously affected by negative emotions. Cicely, Zhang Hong, and Yu Yang thought they were being attacked, and immediately their bodies surged with energy and took a defensive stance. He Chen snapped his fingers, and the area suddenly expanded to a full 520 meters with him as the center. Well, as long as they are in my domain, all enemies will have their combat effectiveness reduced by 20%. You can fight with confidence. Seeing such powerful domain skills, Ning Yu was so shocked that she couldn't close her jaw. You can actually cover such a large area. He Chen, you are so hidden. He Chen raised his chin. Let's go. As He Chen moved, the field also moved with it, always protecting everyone within the field. Mission targets would be immediately noticed as long as they were within 520 meters of them, which doubled everyone's sense of security. Ning Yu was pleasantly surprised and said that with He Chen, their team's overall combat effectiveness would be increased by at least half. He Chen smiled and said nothing. These are just his initial skills. He has not yet shown his combat skills. Cicely's expression had been bad since just now. He originally thought that He Chen came in to gain experience and military exploits through Ning Yu's relationship. So he targeted He Chen unscrupulously, just wanting to kick this dragster out. The ability that He Chen showed now directly hit him in the face. The hatred for He Chen in his heart became stronger and stronger. At this time, everyone no longer worried about other teams and directly crossed the light curtain and entered the stronghold. The environment here is somewhat different from the beach environment. Although the air is also full of water vapor, it is filled with a faint rancid smell. Ning Yu covered her nose and disliked this place very much. It stinks so much, so disgusting. Not far away, several wandering monsters had discovered a few people and rushed towards them. Several nearby tombs also shook, and a bone hand emerged. Then, a hand crawled out of each tomb. More than 2 meters tall, it is composed entirely of bones, a half-human, half-fish skeleton. Mermaid skeleton. Level 30. The orcs who rushed over were howling and holding crude weapons in their hands. Barden orc. Level 30. Ning Yu said in a deep voice. Destroy the nearby monsters as soon as possible and find the commanding heights. Several people nodded. Yu Yong made a move, and a single-person turret appeared. She controlled the turret and continuously bombarded the charging monsters. Zhang Hong and others also roared angrily, picked up their weapons and rushed over, fighting against the monsters. He Chen also took action, using the combat skills he learned during this period of testing. Taking advantage of the characteristics of the domain, He Chen can appear at any location at will. Whenever there is a monster with a low amount of blood that has been absorbed, He Chen will suddenly appear and harvest it directly. A mermaid skeleton howled, but its skull was shattered with a punch from He Chen, completely losing its movement. Kill the mermaid skeleton soldier, experience plus 4,200. In the team state, He Chen can only gain half of the experience points, but the same is true for everyone else. With the combined efforts of everyone, he can gain more experience points than usual when fighting alone. This place is much better than when he took the unified examination. At that time, He Chen killed a monster and his experience value had dropped to less than 1,000. After adding 25, the upgrade speed further slowed down. In the last 3 days, he only improved. Level 1. Obtain Mermaid Relics. These are items dropped by monsters. Although the experience points are equally divided, the dropped items are all based on the principle of whoever kills them takes them. Mermaid Relics can complete the Academy's side tasks. Every 10 can be exchanged for a point of military merit, or they can be sold to the exchange. The price is much lower, each is only worth 500 crystal coins. Based on the principle of accumulating little, He Chen continued to travel through the battlefield, and soon collected hundreds of mermaid relics. On the other side, Ning Yu waved her hand, and a sea of fire swept out, burning a piece of magic beast to scream, and then fired a light attribute ray, instantly piercing the body of a large piece of magic beast, and the harvesting speed was almost as fast as He Chen. He Chen nodded secretly. Ning Yu deserved to be the captain. Although she usually seemed careless and talkative, she really had nothing to say about her strength. However, He Chen also had something to hide, and he did not release the ghost monster. Reserve some of your strength and never let others see all of your cards. This was the result of He Chen's careful consideration. It's just that he reserved a little too much. Not only was the ghost monster not released, but Yang Feng's skills were not even used. Otherwise, he would have been able to handle this battlefield alone. Soon, all the nearby monsters were dealt with. Everyone gained a lot and continued to move forward. Although the levels of the monsters encountered later were not significantly improved, they began to appear at the elite level, and the further they advanced, the more elite level monsters there were. After the battle lasted for 3 hours, the elite level monsters were no longer much less than ordinary monsters. Ning Yu checked the terrain, pointed to a dilapidated palace on the right, and shouted to everyone. Everyone shrink the front line and lead the monsters over there to deal with them. Then we can take a rest. No one could withstand a long period of high-intensity fighting. Even if He Chen had reservations and used Drain to continuously restore himself, his current state was still half down and he was also a little tired. Everyone nodded and moved closer with a tacit understanding, moving the battlefield to the palace. After getting rid of the monsters inside, there would be no subsequent attacks from the monsters, and they could finally rest. Zhang Hong complained. In the past, when we participated in battles, we could basically solve the problem in 2 or 3 hours. This time, it's really crazy. There are so many. He muttered, rubbing his sore arms. If Ning Yu hadn't ordered him to rest, he could hardly hold on anymore. His own condition had long been exhausted, and he could basically only fight with normal attacks. The others were not much better, all of them looked pale and exhausted. Only He Chen sat meditating as if nothing had happened, silently recovering his strength and condition. That does not work. Ning Yu's face looked a little unhappy. The 2-star difficulty level is indeed not that easy to challenge. With the team's current state, it won't last long if they continue to fight. Moreover, the further you go to the back, the worse the team's state will be, and its combat effectiveness will decrease sharply. When the time comes, let alone advance, you may be in danger. We have just walked half the distance to reach the center of the island. There is still a long way to go. If we are beaten by another team, then our mission will be considered a failure and the previous battles will be in vain. Ning Yu looked at everyone. Everyone who has potions, don't hide them, use them all, and recover as soon as possible. Half an hour later, we rushed to the center of the island with all our strength, and first determined the location where the boss will appear. We must occupy it first. I have a hunch that other teams may move faster than we think. In the next battle, we will focus on advancing, supplemented by killing. We will try to avoid large-scale battles with monsters and advance as quickly as possible. Sister Yu, you will attract the firepower. Zhang Yu nodded. Good. Zhang Hong Yuyang, you two just rush forward, don't worry about anything else. The two of them looked a little embarrassed, but in the end they gritted their teeth and nodded, okay. Zicily, you are the fastest and have high stealth. Let's temporarily break away from the battle and see how the other teams are progressing in other areas of the island. Cicely said nothing and nodded. He Chen. Ning Yu finally said to He Chen. He Chen, I have been observing your fighting style for a long time. Your field is indeed very powerful. In this case, you cooperate with me and we will break up the rear. He Chen opened his eyes and nodded towards Ning Yu. Half an hour later, everyone's condition was almost restored. They came out of the palace and performed their duties. Cicely was filled with the power of space and disappeared without a trace in an instant. The color of Zhang Hong's body changed, flashing with metallic luster, and he rushed out with a roar, followed closely by Zhang Yu, using his sword to sweep away the monsters in front of him. He Chen and Ning Yu worked together to protect their rear, constantly repelling the chasing monsters, but there were so many monsters here that they were so densely packed that He Chen had no choice but to release the Ice Queen to increase the speed of the Nether Realm. Effect. The 4 people advanced much faster. At this speed, they could reach the center of the island in about an hour. With the blessing of the Ice Queen, the speed of all the monsters that entered the field suddenly dropped sharply. Their original running turned into slow movements. He Chen and Ning Yu didn't even have to fight. They waited for those monsters to catch up. They had already disappeared without a trace. In this way, Zhang Hong and Yu Yang no longer have any worries and their progress is greatly accelerated. In just half an hour, they arrived at the foot of a mountain. In front of you is a hill, which is the center of the island. But from here, we can already see that a team has started climbing the mountain. Ning Yu frowned, but she didn't expect that they were still lagging behind other teams despite their hurry. Why hasn't Cicely come back yet? Hisri's mission was to investigate, but now that they could all see other teams, Hisri did not come back with any news, which made Ning Yu a little dissatisfied. Although the mountain is not high, there is only one road up the mountain, and it is very narrow. The idea of going up the mountain to avoid the monsters didn't work. Next, we can only go head to head. Behind, there were 2 small teams, which were already close to the center of the island. They would be able to reach them soon. Ning Yu made a quick decision and said to the crowd. We're going to rush forward at once, are you sure? Zhang Hong shook his head. Many of the monsters here are already higher than me. My collision effect is greatly reduced, and Yu Yang's long-range attack effect is not ideal either. Zhang Yu said, how about I take the lead? This range is just suitable for me to use my sword control skills. Ning Yu was silent for a moment and shook her head. Although Zhang Yu's attacks are powerful, like her, she is a bit weak in long-term combat and is not suitable for being a forward. But if she cleared up slowly, it would probably take at least an hour to get up the mountain, and this would actually provide convenience for the teams behind her. No fool would suffer this kind of loss. Ning Yu was in a dilemma. He Chen suddenly spoke. Let me do it. Just as He Chen finished speaking, a sneer came from behind him. Come on, you, an assistant, Go up and die. Cicely appeared. Ning Yu frowned. Cicely, shut your mouth. Zhang Yu also looked at Cicely with some dissatisfaction and asked him to go find out the news, but he only came back now, which wasted a lot of time for everyone. Cicely shrugged and stood with his back to everyone. Ning Yu asked He Chen. He Chen, what are you going to do? He Chen said calmly, it's very simple. I'll go up first and you just don't get lost. Ning Yu was full of doubts. Losing you. That's not the case. There are so many magical beasts. No matter how fast you are, you will still be hindered. He Chen smiled. Who said I have to rely on speed to get up there? Ning Yu was stunned for a moment, then suddenly thought of something, and her eyes suddenly lit up. During the previous battle, He Chen was in the domain and could change positions at will. And his field is huge. As long as He Chen covers the hill with his domain, he will be able to climb up quickly without having to confront the monsters head-on. But she was worried again. He Chen, if you go up first and encounter other teams, it will be very dangerous without our support. Ning Yu noticed that there were 2 people in the team going up the mountain. The energy fluctuations emanating from their bodies made her very afraid. If He Chen goes up the mountain alone to capture the boss refresh point, he will most likely be besieged by that team. He Chen laughed. Actually, it's themselves they have to worry about. As early as 10 levels, He Chen used the super powerful attack of the ghost monster to kill hundreds of professionals from the Dongguan Union, including many level 30 masters. Especially the instructor at that time was still a level 34 professional who was good at defense and not weak at all. If you look at it now, He Chen can easily kill those people as if he were playing without using the explosion of the ghost beast. He Chen didn't even pay attention to a mere small team. Seeing He Chen so confident, Ning Yu nodded. Okay, I'll leave it to you then. Don't worry, we will definitely meet you as soon as possible. Zhang Yu said to He Chen, pay attention to safety. Everyone is ready. He Chen's mind moved, and his mental power spread towards the mountain like a wave. The realm of the netherworld came with it, directly covering a distance of 500 meters from the hill. He Chen ducked out of the way and had already passed through many obstacles and appeared on the mountain trail. He retracted the domain and released it again. This time, the domain directly covered half of the hill. Not only that, the field was filled with toxins, and copying Liang Shu's skills came into play at this moment. Within the area enveloped by his domain, the all-pervasive poison caused the health of all the monsters within to drop rapidly. As a mage-type professional with SSS talent, He Chen's spell strength is no weaker than any professional below level 35. A monster eroded by poison will suffer damage equal to 10% of his spell strength every second. Even a level 30 monster can last up to 5 minutes. In 10 minutes at most, there will be no grass growing here. Taking advantage of the declining health of those monsters, Ning Yu shouted loudly and rushed forward with his men. The monsters with reduced health were much less of a threat to them, which made their way up the mountain very smooth and extremely fast. By the time the 2 teams behind them arrived, the mountain road was already crowded with new monsters, blocking their progress. Regarding this, everyone in Ning Yu's team was overjoyed. Next, the only team left that can compete with them is the team in front. At this time, He Chen was already facing that team. This team consists of 5 men and 1 woman, equipped with tanks, auxiliaries, assassins, far and near output, and even a summoner, surrounded by dozens of elite monsters. Seeing He Chen approaching, they immediately raised their weapons and were very alert. He Chen glanced at a few people. Their faces were very similar to those from the Daxia kingdom, but their clothing styles were completely different. The woman's clothes had cherry blossom patterns on them, and they were half black and half white. This reminded He Chen of the time in the Four Islands Kingdom. A unique and rare main battle profession, on Myoji. It seems that this team comes from the Four Island countries. He Chen said secretly. However, He Chen ignored them. The domain spread out again, and the people disappeared in a flash. When they reappeared, they were already on the mountain road 500 meters away. He Chen continued to use the poison skill, but this time he left a blank area. This team, looking at He Chen's retreating back, gritted their teeth angrily, spoke in a language that Jiligulu couldn't understand, and launched an even more fierce attack on the monsters on the road. Soon, He Chen reached the top of the mountain alone. There are more monsters here, and almost all of them are elite level monsters. He Chen released the ghost monsters to contain them, while he used drain to restore his state while looking around for the boss refresh point. The toxins he released a few times just now consumed a lot of energy. Wu Yangfeng had not mentioned this matter before. However, He Chen also understood that Wu Yangfeng himself probably didn't know either. After all, he didn't have a domain and the scope of releasing toxins was not large. As for his own domain, the radius is a full 520 meters. Releasing toxins in such a large coverage area will naturally double the consumption of mental power. Soon, He Chen picked up a small magic circle that exuded deep purple light. Just by getting closer, I could feel an evil aura. He Chen had felt this kind of aura from Demon King Gersher. It seems that I have found the right place. He Chen took a deep breath, raised his right arm, and with surging mental power, punched the magic circle. The magic circle shattered in response, and the entire island seemed to tremble slightly. All the monsters on the island stiffened and fell to the ground, their eyes losing their luster. The originally densely packed mermaid skeletons, the demonic energy surging in their eye sockets dissipated and fell to the ground, turning into a pile of broken bones. He Chen picked up a blue bead that fell on the ground. Quest item: Mermaid Tears. The invaders from another world occupied the territory of the mermaids, turned the mermaids into puppets, and used the tears of mermaids to drive them. The mermaid tears releases the seal, and other worlds will soon notice that their attack is coming. Obtaining mermaid tears means that the ownership of this stronghold belongs to He Chen's team. He Chen sat down and began to meditate to restore his mental strength. Half an hour later, He Chen opened his eyes, a little confused. It stands to reason that all the magical beasts on the island have disappeared now. With the speed of Ning Yu and others, they can come up in 10 minutes. He Chen had a bad premonition and immediately got up and returned along the mountain road. At this time, halfway up the mountain, 4 people from Ning Yu, back to back, were resisting the siege of 2 teams, without Cicely among them. The 4 of them were all injured and had a very difficult time resisting. They were about to be captured. The 2 teams involved in the siege were not serious. It was just the summoner who went out to fight and used dozens of elite summoned monsters to besiege Ning Yu's team. But even so, Ning Yu and the others cannot last long in their current state. Seeing He Chen's arrival, the 2 teams looked amused. They spoke in broken Daxia dialect and said to He Chen, "If you come any closer, their lives will be in danger." He Chen stopped and glanced at the 2 teams. These people were basically around level 30. He ignored the person who just spoke and asked Ning Yu, "Why is there one person missing?" Ning Yu looked very ugly, and Zhang Yu next to her also looked livid and said, "We had already caught up, but at this time, the warcraft suddenly disappeared. We guessed that you had found the boss refresh point, and were about to go up to join you, but were stopped by the team from the 4 Islands country, and the team from the Banxi country also chased after you. When we came up, Cicely saw that something was not going well and ran away by himself." Seeing that He Chen ignored him, the person who had just spoken immediately became angry. He drew out his slender waist knife and was about to attack He Chen. But he was stopped by his captain, the woman with a cherry blossom pattern on her body and an onmyoji by profession. "We don't want to be enemies with Daxia," Onmyoji said to He Chen. "As long as you hand over the mission items to us and exit this stronghold, we will let them go." He Chen looked at her. This woman looked younger than the others, only 17 or 18 years old, but she could become the captain. It seemed that she was definitely the number 1 figure in the 4 islands. He Chen didn't say anything. With a flick of his finger, mermaid's tears, which exuded azure brilliance, flew towards her. Onmyoji caught it. She looked at He Chen in surprise. "I originally thought that it would take at least a lot of talking, or even physical action, to force the other party to hand over the mermaid tears." Unexpectedly, the young man opposite was so happy. If they want it, just give it to them. If he had known earlier, there would have been no need to besiege his teammates. Instead of putting in more effort, he could have just asked him for it. "Very good. There is an old saying in your Daxia, he who knows the current affairs is a hero." He Chen frowned. "That's a lot of nonsense, let them go." "Haha, I hope your luck won't be so bad next time." She waved her hand, and the summoner immediately asked the monster to retreat. Ning Yu and others hurried over. They looked at He Chen with apologetic expressions on their faces. He Chen, I'm sorry, this is a mission failure, and it's all our fault. The team from the Four Islands country is so despicable. Even though the stronghold has been determined to belong to them, they still come to rob it. We will not swallow this breath. We will go back and report to the academy to see what the academy says. Several people are still brooding over what happened just now. He Chen smiled. It doesn't matter. He turned to look at the four-island team that was about to go up the mountain, and tilted his head. Did I let you go? The Onmyoji team stopped and a few people were a little confused. The Onmyoji laughed and said, "Why, is it possible that with your own strength, you think you can take the mermaid tears back from us?" He Chen didn't say anything, but that was what he meant. Seeing that He Chen had no intention of getting out of the way, the Onmyoji realized that He Chen was not joking, and his aura suddenly exploded. "Boy, since you don't know what's good and what's good, don't blame us." She moved her hands, and two talismans appeared out of thin air. The huge wind pressure centered on the Onmyoji caused the surrounding professionals to stagger. Ning Yu said, "This is Onmyoji's real skill, Shikigami. It is said that it can summon gods to fight." As he spoke, the two talismans exploded and turned into two huge lights and shadows that covered the sky and sun, exuding frightening power. He Chen looked at the light and shadow of the two statues with astonishing momentum, and nodded secretly. No wonder he is younger than other team members, but he can become the captain. He really has two skills. Zhang Yu pulled He Chen's arm. "He Chen, let's forget it. That Onmyoji is too strong. If we were in good condition, we could still fight together. Now we are all injured, the energy circuit is interrupted, and our skills are almost useless. If you don't come out, you are no match for them." He Chen glanced at Zhang Yu and the others. "You guys stand back." Zhang Yu wanted to say something else, but was pulled away by Ning Yu. Ning Yu whispered, "Believe him, He Chen never does anything he's not sure about." Although she had not known He Chen for a long time, He Chen gave him the impression of being very calm and never said any big words. Since He Chen was going to take action, he must have a trump card. Everyone retreated far enough away. He Chen looked at the two teams in front of him, was too lazy to talk nonsense, and directly released the field, covering them all. The forced weakening of the nether realm has dimmed the light of both Shikigami. The expressions of the two teams changed. They had seen He Chen use the domain to rush forward and pass many monsters. It was like cheating. Now that they were truly shrouded in the realm, they felt the terror and oppression within it. They understood that He Chen's daring to start a war with them alone was definitely not without purpose. Beside the Onmyoji, 11 other people also stood up, adding status and skills, and in the blink of an eye, dozens of brilliant beams of light were directed towards He Chen. This scene frightened Zhang Yu and the others. Ning Yu bit her lips tightly and was also very worried. But now, she can only choose to believe He Chen. The beam blasted a large crater on the ground, but there was no sign of He Chen. "Where are you fighting?" He Chen's voice came slowly from behind several people. After all, they were the top teams from the Four Islands and Banksea countries, and they were not slow to respond. Before they could turn around, several attacks had already hit them. However, in this area, ordinary attacks had no effect on He Chen. Their attack failed again. At this time, one of them discovered that his body was covered with dark blue, ferocious curse marks. In the distance, He Chen whispered, "Explode." The curse seal broke out, and the professional groaned and fell to the ground, unconscious. Outside the field, Ning Yu and others were stunned. He Chen. How did he do it? One person faced off against two teams. Not only was he not at a disadvantage, but he defeated one of them in just a few seconds. We seem to have recruited an incredible teammate. So amazing. Zhang Hong and Yu Yang were filled with wonder. Because Cicely and He Chen didn't deal with each other before, and He Chen's level was relatively low, they subconsciously felt that He Chen was just here to gain experience. But now, He Chen uses his strength to let them know who is the one who is relying on experience. They no longer dared to look down upon He Chen in the slightest. In the field, He Chen appeared and disappeared, and the attacks from the Onmyoji and others could not hit him at all. Not only that, He Chen also released the Ghost Monster Ice Queen and Poison Spreading skills. The two teams, Onmyoji and Bangzegu, not only suffered a sharp decrease in speed, but also suffered poisonous damage at all times. Several of them had red halos on their bodies, and their blood volume was decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. If this continues, within 10 minutes at most, these two teams will be tortured to death by He Chen. Everyone spread out and get out. Onmyoji shouted. More than 10 people rushed out from different directions, trying to leave such an area so that they could take the initiative. As long as there is no influence in this field, wouldn't it be easy for more than 10 of them to besiege one person? He Chen saw through these people's intentions instantly and shook his head disdainfully. Did I tell you to get out? Since you are so impatient, I've had enough fun. That's right, He Chen was just playing. From beginning to end, I haven't taken it seriously. But now, He Chen wants to end this game. In the field, black air suddenly billowed, making it like hell, with no sky and extremely low visibility. In the surging black mist, pairs of scarlet eyes opened one after another. The appearance of ghost monsters made it more difficult for professionals who were already struggling to move forward, and they had to free their hands to deal with it. The ghost monsters originally brought out from the dark forest have all been replaced by He Chen. Only the Ice Queen, the Goblin Leader, and one person remained. The remaining ghost monsters have all been replaced by elite monsters above level 30. When below level 30, the explosive power of those minotaurs is quite impressive, but after level 30, the effect is greatly reduced, and it may take several consecutive explosions to cause a high amount of damage. But that would consume too much on He Chen. In comparison, it is better to use other skills, which are more cost-effective. After the major blood change, just relying on the physical strength of the ghost monster can pose a great threat to professionals above level 30. Moreover, the number of He Chen's ghost beasts was even greater than that of the summoner. Under the siege of so many ghost monsters, the professionals who had just rushed out not far away were forced back again. They could only defend passively. Whenever they killed a ghost monster, black energy immediately surged, and the killed ghost monster reappeared, as if they could never be killed. The two teams were very anxious, and even the Onmyoji was a little anxious. She really didn't expect that the opponent's skills were so abnormal, and he could trap so many of them in the field. One careless move and you lose everything. There was a fierce look in her eyes. Since you are so aggressive, don't blame me for using taboo methods. I saw her clasping her hands together and quickly forming various finger gestures, as fast as a phantom. Forbidden method, divine destruction. The two shikigami suspended above her head suddenly burst out with dazzling light, turning into 2 rounds of scorching sun. Wherever the light passed, even He Chen's domain was forced away. Interesting. This was the first time He Chen saw a skill that could forcibly break through his field. Not only that, He Chen also felt a strong wave of soul power, which actually followed the field and attacked him. The soul is the weakness of most professionals, but He Chen is not included. It's true that he is a mage, but his soul is the most powerful. Although he is only level 26 now, his soul strength exceeds that of Onmyoji. He Chen felt a restlessness deep in his soul, and then he felt nothing. This level of attack was not even as good as Muchen's back then. After the 2 scorching suns transformed by the Shikigami dissipated, He Chen's domain slowly recovered. Seeing this, the Onmyoji finally despaired. Her face turned pale. The move just now consumed a lot of her soul power, and it would take a long time for her to recover. Now, she could no longer use it again. He Chen's voice suddenly sounded in everyone's ears. Since you have a soul attack method, I will also use the same method to give you a gift in return. They couldn't find where the sound came from, but in the black mist ahead, a person seemed to appear vaguely. At the same time, a chill appeared on them. It's raining. Several people wiped their faces, but no water stains were found. Onmyoji reacted and screamed. It's a soul attack. Everyone, come to me quickly. She steeled herself, squeezed out her potential, threw out a light talisman again, and summoned a Shikigami. Under the blessing of the Shikigami, the chill on my body just now finally disappeared. They cursed angrily. Despicable Daxia people, if you can, remove the domain and let us fight openly and openly. If you don't show up, you'll use these weird tricks. If you dare to show up, I'll beat you to shit in minutes. Boy, you have no idea what kind of existence you have provoked. You will regret this. He Chen's contemptuous laughter came from the field. Who gave you the confidence to speak like this to me, the so-called Shikigami? The Onmyoji raised her hand and pressed it down, signaling her teammates not to speak. She said to Kurogiri, "It's true that we made a mistake. I didn't expect you to be the strongest in that team. I'm willing to hand over the mermaid tears. Just let us go." But she didn't take out the mermaid tears, obviously because she was afraid that He-Chen would regret it. He-Chen looked at those people playfully and stopped replying. When negotiating terms, it all depends on capital. But now, the initiative is in his hands, and the other party has no capital to negotiate terms with him. The two teams haven't realized this yet. He-Chen decided to let them see the situation clearly. I have to say, He-Chen is so considerate sometimes. Next to He-Chen stood a young man with a dull expression and a faint black aura on his body. It was Muchen, who had become the object of He-Chen's contract. The Soul Rain just now was just a feint attack, the real attack was already ready. After receiving He-Chen's instructions, Muchen suddenly raised his head. His scarlet eyes were like two whirlpools, and strange soul fluctuations spread. At the same time, Onmyoji and the others suddenly felt as if their bodies were burning. The pain was so swift and intense that a few people with weaker souls couldn't hold on any longer and rolled on the ground, wailing incessantly. Although the Onmyoji was also very uncomfortable, he could still hold on. Compared to the pain in her soul, the shock at this moment shocked her the most. Soul attack. The other party actually has the means of soul attack. She understood that this was the other party's counterattack because of her soul attack just now. Chapter 101. After the wailing continued for half an hour, of the two teams from the Four Islands Kingdom and the Banksea Kingdom, only the Onmyoji could barely stand. The others fell to the ground, their breaths weak, and several people even fainted. At this time, they are just fish on the chopping board, ready to be slaughtered by others. He-Chen withdrew his domain, came to the Onmyoji, and stretched out his hand. The Onmyoji woman looked at He-Chen with a complicated expression, and finally said nothing and put mermaid tears in He-Chen's hand. He-Chen walked towards Ningyu and the others, who were already stunned, and said to her, "You are the captain, it's up to you how to deal with them." Then He-Chen returned to the top of the mountain. He could feel that the BOSS was about to appear, and there was still a tough battle to be fought. Not long after, Ningyu and others came to the top of the mountain one after another, and learned from Zhongyu that Ningyu let those people go. He-Chen shook his head slightly. He-Chen wanted to see how Ningyu would handle the situation when he handed over the disposal of the two teams to Ningyu. Now it seems that Ningyu is a bit of a woman. The two sides have already forged a rift. If they meet again, they will fight to the death, but they should also be wary of the other party shooting cold shots in the back. This is laying hidden dangers for oneself. But it's too late to say anything now. If he goes after him, Ningyu and the others won't be able to withstand the boss here. In comparison, the task is still important. Suddenly, the space in front of him became distorted, like ripples spreading out, and Cicely suddenly appeared. He turned around and looked around to make sure it was safe, then walked out with confidence. Zhongyu and others were very angry and accused Cicely of escaping before the battle. Cicely apologized profusely. "I am also thinking about the overall situation. If we are all caught, this mission will definitely fail. I'm waiting for an opportunity to rescue you. We are on the same team, how could I really leave you behind?" Although Cicely's explanation was reasonable, everyone's anger still lingered. In the end, he had to say that he would contribute all the profits from this mission and not take any of it. Only then did Ningyu let him go. Not far away, He-Chen was disappointed again. People like Cicely are selfish and do not regard Ningyu's team as their teammates at all. If they are in slight danger, they will sell them out without hesitation. Keeping such a person by your side is more dangerous than being an enemy. Over there, Cicely had already won everyone's forgiveness and became one again. Suddenly, everyone felt an evil aura. The light array that was smashed by He-Chen appeared again, and this time it was larger, with deep purple rays of light outlining strange patterns. At the same time, the monster on the island appeared again. The broken bones scattered on the ground moved and spliced into a skeleton, but this time it was not a mermaid, but a monster with several heads and arms. The monster's body was covered with bone spurs, shimmering with cold light, and was harder than steel. There is a dark purple mark on the skull. The aura emitted is also much stronger than before. In addition, there are many level 31 to 33 monsters. These monsters are scattered in every corner of the island, especially on the top of the mountain. Unless He Chen's team defeats the boss, they will not be able to escape even if they want to. Find the boss's location quickly, Ning Yu shouted. In this situation, it is not advisable to fight for a long time, as the number of monsters will only increase. They were too exhausted to kill them all. However, after searching the top of the mountain, they found no trace of the boss monster. He Chen frowned. Could it be that the boss here is the same as the one in the Cat Demon Secret Realm, a hidden boss that requires killing all the monsters to find it? In this case, it would be a bit difficult to handle. At this time, Ning Yu asked Cicely to use skills to attack the magic circle. Hearing this, He Chen suddenly thought of a possibility. Could it be said that boss does not exist in this time and space? Just as He Chen thought, after Cicely attacked the magic circle, a green humanoid creature with 2 wings on its back and a bumpy body appeared. It looked at Ning Yu and others with a ferocious smile, but did not attack. Level 34 Boss Level Monster, Orc Poppy. A powerful creature from another world, with the ability to summon the undead to fight for itself. Its true body is not in this time and space. Unless you have the ability to strike through the space barrier, you cannot hurt it. Or you can kill all the undead creatures controlled by the demonic energy, and the Orc Poppy will retreat. 2 choices were placed in front of everyone, but in fact, they could only choose the first one. It is unrealistic to kill all the undead creatures on the island. But to attack the Orc Poppy who is blocked by a space barrier, only Cicely has this ability. Ning Yu and others swept away all the undead creatures nearby and urged Cicely to take action quickly. They don't have much time. Soon, the undead creatures at the bottom of the mountain will rush up again. But Cicely was not in a hurry to take action. He glanced at He Chen with a half smile, then suddenly pointed at He Chen and said, "I will take action, but before that, you have to make a choice. He and I can only keep one. You choose." Ning Yu and others were immediately confused. "Cicely, what's wrong with you? Do you know that if it hadn't been for He Chen, we would have fallen into the hands of the 4 Islands team, and the mermaid tears would have been taken away? Where were you when He Chen was fighting those 2 teams? Why did you ask He Chen to withdraw?" Zhang Yu and others said indignantly. Cicely nodded. "I know what you are saying. He did his best. I admit it. But you also have to understand that now only I can complete this task. He saved you, and you acknowledge his kindness, but did I let him save me? Why should I remember him? I don't want him to take advantage of me. Is there a problem? Anyway, you think about it yourself. Today, he and I can only keep one person." Ning Yu looked at Cicely and then at He Chen. To be honest, she despised Cicely's behavior, which was tantamount to taking advantage of someone else's situation. The fact that they have made it this far is entirely due to He Chen. Otherwise, let alone the mission, it would be a matter of whether they could save their lives. But in the current situation, if they can't kill the Mobile orcs, then everything they have done before will be in vain. Only Cicely has spatial abilities, and only he can attack the boss to the Poppy orcs. Not only that, there are very few professionals with spatial skills, but they can be of great use in many places. It was precisely because of this that he had the confidence to launch an attack. On the surface, he asked everyone to choose between him and He Chen, but in fact, he wanted to squeeze He Chen out. Zhang Yiqi's hands were trembling, and she wished she could kill Cicely with a sword. When she was about to speak, He Chen held her back. He Chen shook his head slightly. He looked at Ning Yu. Ning Yu is the captain, and He Chen is waiting for her choice. After some ideological struggle, Ning Yu made a choice. She looked at Cicely. "Sorry, Cicely, I choose He Chen, you can go." Cicely was still very proud at this time, expecting that Ning Yu would not give up the victory that was within easy reach and would definitely choose him. But he didn't expect that Ning Yu would choose He Chen. Cicely looked surprised. "Ning Yu, you have thought clearly. How much effort has everyone put into building this Type 2 difficulty stronghold? Are you sure you want to give up? One step slowly, one step slowly. This mission failed. You have to wait 3 days to receive a new mission. And don't even think about such a stronghold level. Without me, even if you find the boss, you won't be able to defeat it." Quote, "Without me, it would be difficult for you not to mention ranking, but to complete the Academy's mission requirements. Don't you want to enter the Tower of Despair? Ningyu, are you crazy? Faced with Cicely's almost frantic questioning, Ningyu was calm and calm. She looked at Cicely and said calmly, Cicely, you think too highly of your own value. I remained absolutely calm. Perhaps without you, our mission this time would have failed, but you have no idea how powerful He Chen is. He is far beyond your imagination. As long as He Chen stays in our team, we will not fall behind. The failure of one mission is nothing. This is a long-term activity. We still have many checkpoints and strongholds behind us. In the end, we even have to invade the base camp of another world. You may not be able to do this, but He Chen can. We will soon be unable to keep up with He Chen. We should feel lucky to be teammates with him now. Ningyu's words made Zhongyu and others deeply agree. Just now, He Chen defeated the two top teams of the Four Islands country and the Banxi country with just one person. With such strength, it was like 1 against 5. A few of the garnishers want to fire the cook. Isn't this a joke? Cicely could tell that Ningyu was not joking. Not only that, Zhongyu, Zhang Hong, and Yu Yang were all on He Chen's side now. He sneered. Okay, if that's the case, don't regret it. He is a space-type main battle professional. He is popular everywhere, so it is not difficult to find a team. He left here with curses. At this time, He Chen walked over slowly and said to several people. Warcraft's fast attack is coming. You block it, and I will deal with the boss Poppy Orc. Several people were stunned. What is He Chen talking about? Will he solve it? He doesn't have space skills, so how can he deal with the boss across the space barrier? Ningyu tilted her head and suddenly smiled. She pulled Zhang Yu's arm. Sister Yu, let's go fight World of Warcraft and leave this place to He Chen. Zhang Yu still doesn't understand. Leave it to He Chen. Ningyu nodded heavily. She now had almost blind confidence in He Chen. Since He Chen said it was okay, then it must be okay. Zhang Hong and Yu Yang were still hesitant. Ningyu raised her fingers directly towards them. Go. As the captain, she still has some authority. Immediately, Zhang Yu and others followed Ningyu to stop the monster. After everyone left, He Chen took a deep breath and looked at the Bobile orc in front of him. Although the two seem to be very close, in fact, they are not on the same interface at all. Bobile orc bared his teeth at He Chen and waved the big stick in his hand, as if he wanted to jump out and give He Chen a hit with the stick. He Chen's mental power spread out, and all of a sudden, all kinds of monsters that had been killed all over the ground within a kilometer suddenly seemed to be alive. To be precise, it is the blood in their bodies that comes alive. Originally I didn't want to use this trick. After all, I wanted to keep a trump card at the bottom of the box, but now it seems that other than this trick, other methods are really useless. What He Chen wants to use is his level 20 awakening skill, Altar of the Undead. Through this period of training, He Chen has gained a deeper understanding of this skill. The target targeted by the Altar of the Undead is not limited to one or a few targets. When he was in the abyss, he used this skill to directly destroy that space. The attack method of the Altar of the Undead is of the curse type. The more blood sacrificed, the more powerful the skill becomes. As for the cursed target, it is useless even if he escapes to the ends of the earth. In other words, as long as He Chen can lock the target, he will definitely be able to attack. He Chen didn't know where the time and space of the Bobile orc was, but it didn't matter. Since it dared to appear in front of He Chen, it wouldn't even think about living. A mere ordinary level 34 boss level monster can be destroyed with a flip of the hand. As countless blood energy gathered, a blood-colored altar that was as tall as one person quickly took shape. Although the altar is not big, it exudes heart-stopping fluctuations. Ningyu and others who were blocking the monster also felt this wave and looked towards the top of the mountain. It's so scary. What skills did He Chen use? I feel like my soul is shaking, as if it's about to be sucked away. This guy really does have a trump card. The few of them looked at each other and their fighting spirit was rising. Since He Chen did have a way to deal with the boss, they should kill a few more monsters before the end and gain more battle merits. The Bobile orc behind the space barrier also felt fear at this time, and his original arrogance turned into a look of horror. It wanted to escape from here and abandon this battlefield, but it was already too late. As He Chen thought, the altar disappeared, and the Bobule orc behind the space barrier suddenly stiffened, and then fell straight down. The poppy orc who fell to the ground turned into dust and dissipated. Congratulations to the Hunting Wind team for occupying the 2-star stronghold Mermaid Tomb. Congratulations to the Hunting Wind team for completing the 2-star difficulty mission. All members will receive rewards. Because Ning Yu had already removed Cicely, there were only 5 people on the list displayed at this time. As the first team to complete the mission in the Zon Academy event, the Hunting Wind team received an announcement from the entire academy. At this time, Cicely, who had already returned to Zon Academy, looked confused. How is it possible? How could they complete that mission without me? That's a Type 2 difficulty stronghold that I specially selected. No one except me can easily pass the level. Did they kill all the monsters on the island? It's impossible. They don't want to do it in such a short time. No matter how hard Cicely tried, he would never know that He Chen also had the ability to break through the space barrier. Just when Cicely was jealous of Ning Yu and other members of the wind hunting team, and they were making a lot of gains, someone suddenly asked on the college's public channel. What's going on? The members of the wind hunting team have changed. No, there are always 5 of them. It has indeed changed. That Cicely is gone, and there is another one named He Chen. Who is this He Chen? I've never heard of him. Probably a new student. Ha ha ha, that golden retriever Cicely has been kicked out, everyone is celebrating. I have long disliked him. Let me tell you something. Cicely's strength is pretty good, and he's also a profession with rare space-type skills. What happened to Ning Yu? Did he get fired? Yes, isn't this because you cut off your arm? The strength of the Hunting Wind team was originally in the middle, but now I'm afraid it will fall to the lower reaches. Are you all blind? The team is the first in the entire academy to complete the mission, and it's still on the 2-star difficulty level. Where did the strength drop? It's obviously a huge increase. Okay. It's a bit interesting to change someone and his strength has skyrocketed. Cicely's character is of low character, and it is reasonable for him to be expelled. That kind of person is a scourge. Ning Yu finally figured it out. Seeing that many people were mercilessly ridiculing and laughing at him on the public channel, Cicely's face was distorted with anger. And he attributed all of this to He Chen. If He Chen hadn't appeared, insisted on joining the team and taking advantage of their experience points, none of this would have happened. He Chen, I must avenge this. Ning Yu had a rare quiet day. It almost made everyone in the Hunting Wind team think something had happened to her. There was no other way. The wind hunting team's post-war review meeting could only be held in Ning Yu's room. Ning Yu lay on the bed with her back stretched out, with the word, lie flat, written all over her face. It would be safer to take on missions in the future, but I am exhausted. She said weakly. The Mermaid Tomb stronghold really tired her out. Not only her, but the rest of the team also relaxed after returning, and then felt physically and mentally exhausted. Only He Chen seemed to be fine. He sat quietly in the corner, waiting for everyone to speak. Zhang Yu said seriously to He Chen. He Chen, I want to thank you this time. Zhang Yu was about to level up. This time, she gained a lot by clearing the 2-star Mermaid Tomb. She also successfully advanced. Now she has reached level 34, becoming the highest level in the team. He Chen shook his head and said you're welcome. Ning Yu sat up. Sister Yu, you don't have to be so polite to He Chen. Although this guy doesn't talk much, he is a very nice person. Although Ning Yu didn't spend much time with He Chen, it was strange that she always believed in He Chen subconsciously. Everyone chatted for a while and felt relaxed, and then talked about this battle. Start taking stock of the shortcomings. Speaking of this, it is inevitable to mention Cicely. Everyone was indignant about the fact that Cicely abandoned everyone and ran away alone, and then took advantage of the situation and threatened everyone to choose between him and He Chen. Everyone unanimously agreed to put Cicely on the blacklist. Not only will Cicely never be accepted, but any team that accepts Cicely, the Windhunters will not work with them. It seems I came at the wrong time. A voice suddenly came, and everyone was stunned for a moment, and then looked out the window. Seeing the people outside the window, everyone's expressions became solemn and they greeted each other. Teacher Wu Yang. Hello, Teacher Wu Yang. I've met Teacher Wu Yang. The visitor was none other than Wu Yang Feng. Wu Yang Feng smiled and nodded to everyone, then walked in. That's right, He walked in through the window, and this is the 10th floor. Ning Yu whispered in He Chen's ear. Instructor Wu Yang is a legendary figure. Not only is he a level 77 Supermaster, the highest level among all instructors, he is also a member of the Council of Elders and has participated in the battle with the Demon King. He Chen laughed secretly in his heart. They still don't know that Wu Yangfeng is actually his mentor. However, he did know very little about Wu Yangfeng, and he did not expect that he would actually participate in the attack on another world and the battle with the Demon King 10 years ago. Wu Yangfeng looked around at everyone with a smile and a kind face. I heard that during your mission this time, you met professionals from other countries. That's right, Ning Yu stood up and replied. And we also fought against professional teams from the Four Islands country and the Banksea country. Oh, a sharp look flashed in Wu Yangfeng's eyes. He said coldly. 2 small countries dare to challenge our Zan Academy. It seems that we should take some time to visit these 2 small countries. Then, he asked, are you hurt? Ning Yu shook her head. She was a little ashamed. The team from the Four Islands is really powerful. We are no match. If He Chen hadn't taken action, we would have been in danger. Wu Yangfeng's face turned colder. What a four-island country. I have taken note of this. Please tell me in detail about the team of professionals from the four-island country. Ning Yu and the others encountered a team of foreign professionals. When they finally went up the mountain, they were intercepted by 2 teams from the Four Islands country and the Banksea country. In particular, when Ning Yu and the 4 of them worked together, they were directly suppressed by the Shikigami summoned by the opponents on Myoji, and they were immediately ashamed. Ning Yu said. At that time, He Chen had already obtained the mermaid tears. Logically speaking, according to international conventions, the other professional teams should have retreated. However, the teams from the Four Island countries used us as bargaining chips to force He Chen to hand over the mermaid tears. Quote, for our safety, He Chen had no choice but to hand over the mermaid tears. We thought this mission was going to fail, but we didn't expect that He Chen snatched the mermaid tears back by himself again. Teacher Wu Yang, I would like to submit a team change application to the college. The team leader will be changed to He Chen. He Chen glanced at Ning Yu in surprise. Ning Yu didn't tell him about this. Wu Yangfeng glanced at He Chen thoughtfully, and then said. Judging from your description, He Chen is indeed very responsible and worthy of being the captain, but... He changed the topic and asked He Chen. He Chen, are you willing to be the captain of the wind hunting team? He Chen shook his head without hesitation. I don't want to. Ning Yu looked at He Chen aggrievedly, but He Chen was unmoved and said calmly. Actually, forming a team is a coincidence for me. I would rather play solo. Wu Yangfeng was not surprised at all by He Chen's answer. He had known He Chen as early as the unified examination, and knew much more about He Chen than Ning Yu. He said to several people, you guys should have a good rest first. The college will handle the matter regarding foreign professionals. Of course, during the break, if someone can't stand the loneliness, I can recommend several dungeons or secret realms suitable for solo grinding. The Mermaid Tears stronghold has been archived and will be used as one of the Academy's dungeons in the future. As the secret realm occupiers, the Academy will open this blessing door to you for free. There are essential differences between dungeons and secret realms. Secret realms are very dangerous. This is generally accepted common sense. But the dungeon is different. The dungeon is completely controlled by humans. You can play in it halfway and exit halfway. The dungeon will be archived. The next time you enter, you can continue to explore the progress of the last time. Even if you die inside, you will leave unscathed. It can be said that it is completely a safe place for leveling. It can also be used to hone and test your fighting skills and experience. Normally, if you want to enter the Academy's dungeon, you have to spend at least 50 battle credits, which shows its high value. But now, the 5 members of He Chen's wind hunting team have obtained the qualification to enter for free, and the value of this far exceeds other rewards. You guys should rest. If anyone wants to play alone, they can come to me. After saying that, Wu Yangfeng left. Ning Yu stuck out her tongue. The 2-star mission is so difficult. The 1-star mission is probably not much better. How can one do it alone? Instructor Wu Yang really thinks highly of us. Everyone agreed, but He Chen smiled and said nothing. Only he knew that what Wu Yangfeng just said was meant for him. He Chen and Ning Yu went to the exchange and sold all the equipment and materials obtained from this mission. Ning Yu sold more than 30,000 crystal coins, while He Chen sold more than 70,000 crystal coins. This is also the result of He Chen not deliberately collecting materials and equipment. Ning Yu didn't care at all about the more than 30,000 crystal coins, saying that she would take He Chen with her and squander it all. The few dishes she forgot to order when she had dinner last time had to be made up for this time. There is also a wine called Bloody Mary. Drinking it can permanently increase your blood volume limit. She highly recommends it. Originally, this type of item required not only high crystal coins, but also an additional 10 combat points for each bottle. This made her very distressed, and she was reluctant to drink it at all. But this time, she had to be generous and let He Chen have a taste of this wine. Otherwise, it would be a regret in life if he couldn't drink it one day. At this time, a majestic voice suddenly came from He Chen's communicator. He Chen, come to the Academic Affairs office. He Chen stopped. He said to Ning Yu, it seems I can only eat it next time. Academic Affairs office. As soon as He Chen came in, he saw Yuan Ke sitting in the front seat, with Liu Yangfeng and Yi Yun on both sides. Yuan Ke smiled and said, He Chen, we saw your battle photos in the Mermaid Tomb stronghold. You performed very well. He Chen looked calm on the outside but cursed on the inside. You called me here in a hurry, just for this matter. Yi Yundao. In fact, before, we also noticed the unusual movements of the 4 island countries and were closely monitoring their movements. However, we did not expect that they actually opened the teleportation gate directly into the stronghold. I had already sent people to rush over, but I did not expect that. The support team hasn't arrived yet, so you should take care of them first. He Chen shook his head. It's a pity that we let them leave in the end. Wu Yangfeng immediately laughed. I knew that with your clean and neat style of doing things, you wouldn't let them leave easily. They violated the rules first. Even if they are all killed, those small countries will not dare to say anything. He Chen secretly gasped, this old guy is more ruthless than him. Yuan Ke said, He Chen, you defeated the teams from the 4 Islands country and the Banxi country, which can be regarded as maintaining the majesty of the Imperial Academy. You should be rewarded. What do you want? He Chen thought for a moment and tried. You should know what I want. Yuan Ke's face froze and he said a little embarrassedly. Ahem, this, your sister's matter, you still need to have enough military exploits. He Chen rolled his eyes, then you let me say it. However, He Chen also knew that if he really made that request, it would be a bit excessive, so he said. I can't think of what I should ask for at the moment. How about this? If it's a physical reward, then why not convert it all into battle achievements and give it to me? Yuan Ke smiled and shook his head. You kid, you messed up the wording that the 3 of us had planned. However, I still have a suggestion. Your sister still has time. There is no need for you to be so anxious. The top priority is to improve your combat power as soon as possible. After all, the higher your combat power, the more military exploits, opportunities you can obtain. A lot, what do you think? He Chen nodded. It all depends on the dean's arrangements. Yuan Ke nodded. Next to him, Yi Yun swiped from the communicator, and 2 cards appeared. A card exudes gleaming purple light and is a purple quality prop. The other one showed a faint pink light, which turned out to be a legendary item. Here are 2 upgrade cards, one is elementary and can be used below level 20, and one is intermediate and can be used between levels 21 to 40. In fact, He Chen had just recognized it. When he took Li Jing to upgrade before, Li Jing used a junior upgrade card. According to her, props of this level have a price but no market. Whenever one appears on the market, it will be immediately snapped up by all the major forces. A basic upgrade card can easily be worth millions of crystal coins. As for intermediate, no one will sell it, and they can only exchange it with props of the same level before anyone is willing to sell it. It is indeed worthy of being an Imperial Academy, and it is generous enough. Wu Yangshu said to him. You are now level 26, so you can no longer use the primary card, but you can keep it or sell it to exchange for other props. As for the intermediate upgrade card, I suggest you upgrade it first before using it, so that you can maximize the use of the upgrade card value. He Chen nodded and thanked the three of them one by one. Having an intermediate upgrade card can indeed save him a lot of time. Nowadays, even if he wants to upgrade to a level, he has to go through the secret realm for several days in a row. However, He Chen was indeed about to level up, so he asked Yang Feng about dungeons or secret realms suitable for solo play. Yang Shu gave 3 choices. First, the Fallen Angel Abyss does not require military exploits to enter, but the abyss is large and the time of exit is difficult to determine. Second, each time you enter the Dryad Jungle Dungeon, you need 50 points of combat merit. The third one is a copy of Mermaid Tomb. He Chen chose the third one without hesitation, for no other reason than that the main ticket was free. Yang Feng and the other 3 suddenly laughed. Xiao Yi, Dean, look, I'm right. Yuan Ke and Yi Yun both looked helpless. Before He Chen came, the 3 of them made a bet on which one He Chen would choose. Each of the 3 has its own advantages. Although the Fallen Angel Abyss is very dangerous, the probability of producing various props is very high. If a purple grade prop is produced, it will make a lot of money. Even if it is given to the academy, it can be exchanged for a huge amount of military exploits. Needless to say, the safety of the Tree Spirit Jungle Dungeon, the tree spirits in it have a big shortcoming, they move slowly and are afraid of fire. Even if you are not a fire attribute profession, you can easily pass the level with some cheap fire attribute props. It can be said to be a treasure trove for leveling up. As for the copy of Mermaid Tomb, there are many monsters and tickets are free. Anyway, the 3 of them hold their own opinions, and no one can tell the difference. However, unexpectedly, after hearing these 3 choices, He Chen didn't even understand the advantages and disadvantages of each of them, and directly chose the free entrance to the Mermaid Tomb. Yi Yun shook his head. I have long heard that the students of Zon Academy value their military exploits more than their lives. He Chen has already been assimilated not long after he came in. Yang Feng rolled his eyes at him. What do you know? It doesn't matter whether the difficulty is high or low. To my students, it's all the same. In any case, they will be wiped out in a snap. As for the abyss, you forgot, this kid will be very irritable when he enters the abyss. Quote. Yuan Ke and Yi Yun were stunned at the same time. He Chen had entered the abyss during the unified examination, and they had all seen the images from that time. He Chen, who originally seemed very peaceful and calm at all times, seemed to be a completely different person after entering the abyss, becoming very irritable. When he gets angry, even the abyss will be destroyed. Could it be said that the abyss will make He Chen manic? After leaving the Academic Affairs office, He Chen was not in a hurry to refresh the copy of Mermaid Tomb. He saw the message Yang Feng had just sent him through the communicator. There is information about the Tower of Despair that He Chen wants to know. There are 60 levels of despair. Generally speaking, there is only one monster on each level, and it must be a boss-level monster. Occasionally there will be a large number of monsters, but no more than 3 at most. The boss level on the first floor is level 30. The second level is level 31, and so on. Each time you advance to a level, the level and strength of the boss will increase. All the way to the 10th floor, the boss here is level 40. The average student can only go up to this point. From now on, although the level of the boss will not increase, it will have some strange abilities. Some are elemental types with extremely high magic damage. Some are extremely fast and difficult to attack. There are also curse types, which can be caught accidentally. There are countless others, such as domain type, poison type, and defense type. Basically, everyone believes that if the level is less than 40, it is impossible to pass the level. There are currently 7 people who have passed the Tower of Despair. He Chen was secretly stunned. The Zon Academy was indeed as rumored as it was, with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. After just learning the information about the Tower of Despair, even he felt a lot of pressure, but there were still 7 people who passed the level. The strength of these 7 people is really abnormal. He Chen looked at the list. The 7 people were Su Beimu, level 41. Chen is rare, level 41. Tai Yi, level 40. Du Zita, level 40. Pace, level 39. Xu Wenhou, level 38. Li Xiaoyu, level 37. All 7 of these people have won the first place in the monthly student battle merit list and the first place in the college gold list, and thus got a place to enter the Tower of Despair. But there are at least a dozen students who get first place every year. It can be seen that even if you can get the quota to enter, you may not be able to pass the level. Of course, the rewards for clearing the level are also huge, at least one piece of legendary equipment, maybe even epic equipment. Although it may not be something you can use yourself, you can trade it and exchange it with others for the items you need. Since it is now an event period and all other activities in the academy are suspended, there will be no number 1 on the gold list this month, only one number 1 on the merit list will be born. Ranking first every week will have an opportunity to enter. In addition, there is the Tower of Babel. Babel Tower, as its name suggests, has extremely high levels, reaching straight to the sky. A total of 999 floors. The Tower of Babel is currently open to all students free of charge. There will be rewards for every level you clear in the Tower of Babel, but the rewards for the first 100 levels are really worthless. Even if you get them on the exchange, you can only sell them for a few hundred crystal coins. Starting from the 100th level, the difficulty suddenly increases, and the rewards obtained also increase suddenly. If you can clear all 999 floors of Babel Tower, the reward will be an epic piece of equipment. He Chen took a deep breath. 100% chance of epic equipment. He even had the illusion that the epic equipment was very close to him. But you can imagine it with your toes. How can epic equipment be so easy to obtain? The difficulty of clearing the level may be much greater than that of the Tower of Despair. In the Academy's records, there are only 3 passers-by, and one of them is Yuan Ke, the Dean of the Imperial Academy. The names of the other 2 people are a bit unfamiliar, but being able to stand alongside Yuan Ke shows their strength. Maybe they are 2 of the 8 highest figures in Daxia. Apart from them, among the students of Zon Academy, the current highest clearance record is level 347. The record creator is Li Xiaoyu. He Chen remembered that Li Xiaoyu's level on the list was level 37, which was the lowest among the students who had cleared the Tower of Despair. But it turns out that in the later stages, level is really not that important. She is the lowest level, but the strongest. There is another piece of information about the Tower of Babel that is more friendly to challengers, that is, it can be archived. The archiving period is 1 year. Every 10 levels, you can save it once and challenge it next time to avoid duplication. For example, Li Xiaoyu, whose record is level 347, can start from level 340 next time he challenges. In the past, students from the Zon Academy had to pay 500 battle credits every time they entered the Tower of Babel. If they couldn't reach the 200th floor, they wouldn't even be able to recoup the cost. And there are only 3 opportunities to enter each month. Now these restrictions are all lifted. He Chen was very excited and wanted to try it, but when he arrived at Babel Tower, he realized that there were too many people queuing up here. The Tower of Babel, which can be challenged by up to 10 people at a time, has at least 100 people queuing up outside, and some people even spend their military exploits to find someone to queue on their behalf. Here, military exploits are truly omnipotent. He Chen had no choice but to give up this idea. He didn't have the time to waste it. The right way is to seize the time and upgrade your level. Early the next morning, He Chen came to the Mermaid Tomb dungeon alone. It only took him an hour to successfully pass the level. In order not to waste it, He Chen killed all the monsters on the island. This wave of experience points finally allowed him to level up. Name: He Chen. Occupation: Hell Controller. Level: 27, 1.2%. Spell Strength: 3012. Physical Strength: 1540. Spirit: 2100. Soul Power: 571. Physique: 899. Agility: 546. Power: 1001. Skill 1. Realm of the Netherworld Underworld. Maximum Domain Range: 540*540. Maximum number of contracted monsters that can be stored: 54. Skill 2. Drain. Can cause damage equivalent to 18% of the body's spell strength per second to the target. Maximum number of targets: 15. Skill 3. Altar of the Undead. Skill Copy 4. Curse Seal Stacking Detonation. Skill Copy 5. Toxin Traces. He Chen's spell strength has exceeded 3000, which is equivalent to the strength of a mage type around level 40, and his soul power is even more terrifying. For ordinary professionals to break through the 500 mark, they basically have to reach level 50 or above. Professions that are not good at soul power may need level 60. And he is not yet level 30. It can be said that regardless of combat power, no one can believe that He Chen is less than level 30 just based on the numerical values on the attribute panel. Instead, he feels that he is over level 40 and is good at soul power. Mage-type professional. After coming out of the dungeon of Mermaid Tomb, it was still early, so He Chen went to the Tower of Babel again. There were still as many people as ever, but it was much better than in the morning. It is estimated that by tomorrow, he will be able to take the turn. He doesn't like standing in line anyway. While walking around the college, He Chen accidentally came to the recruitment wall. There was a lot of people here and it seemed very lively. The Cold Wind team is recruiting temporary teammates, requiring level 30 or above. Let a great master lead you to a 3-star difficulty level, the Dragon's Lair, and you will be rewarded with 3000 meritorious deeds. There is still one vacancy in our team. Here is a mage, preferably one with light attributes. Are there any tanks? He Chen stopped and looked at the bustling recruitment wall, feeling a little moved. How about making some extra money? Brother, may I ask what level you are at? Dragon's Lair is a 3-star difficulty level, which is extremely difficult. Don't worry about the level, I'll tell you, if you can't pass it, I won't take any money from you. Just now, He Chen found the team that passed the 3-star difficulty level, Dragon's Lair. However, the 5 people in front of them were obviously a little suspicious. Because He Chen looked at him and saw that he was not a strong person on the gold list. According to the strength of their team, they must be led by at least one of the top 20 players on the gold list to be able to pass the level. It's not that they are inferior in strength, on the contrary, their overall strength is slightly stronger than Ning Yu's hunting team. The captain is He Chang, a level 35 professional storm lord. The other 4 team members are Zhao Shuai, a level 32 professional flame demon. Zhao Gang, 31 auxiliary professional streamer, gain, attack. Ji Yu Yu, a level 32 auxiliary profession, singer, healer, nanny. Zhou Sasa is a level 33 control major and a puppet master. This team is fully equipped in all aspects and has basically no shortcomings. This is He Chen's evaluation after learning about it. He Chang asked He Chen to also display the information, but He Chen refused. Just kidding, if they saw that his level was only 27, why would they let him lead people to complete the level? So He Chang's team hesitated even more. Seeing this, He Chen directly released his ultimate move. If you can't pass the level, not only will I not take any money from you, but I will also give you 3000 battle credits. He Chang was stunned for a moment, and then said with bright eyes. Is this true? He Chen nodded. A contract will be made anyway, so what are you afraid of? The academy allows each team to hire foreign aid. In order to protect the rights and interests of both parties, a contract is usually entered into after an agreement is reached. He Chang discussed with his teammates for a while, then nodded towards He Chen. We voted unanimously, so let's make a contract now. He Chen nodded. Good. He Chang spent some military merit to redeem a contract. After writing the contents, He Chen and He Chang's team imprinted their own auras on it. As the contract radiated light and was accepted and recognized by the academy, He Chen officially became a temporary teammate of the Twilight team. He participates in team battles and will share in the collective benefits. Classmate, can you tell us your career information this time? He Chen smiled slightly and displayed his information. He Chen, level 27, auxiliary profession, Hell Controller. The faces of He Chang and others suddenly fell. Classmate, are you making fun of us? No wonder you don't want to show your information. It turns out you're not even level 30. At this level, you still want to take us to fight against the Dragon's Lair. You don't want your life, but we want our lives too. Listening to these people chattering and arguing, He Chen couldn't stand them. What, you regretted it? Can you afford the price of violating the contract? The surroundings suddenly became silent, and several people seemed to have suddenly become mute. That's right, they can't afford the price of violating the contract. Imperial Academy attaches great importance to any contract and strictly enforces it. If someone violates it, the minor will have to pay 10 times the contract content. If it is serious, the student will be directly removed from the school and ordered to drop out. There was no way, a few people had no choice but to suffer this loss. If eyes could eat people, He Chen would probably be eaten by them at this moment. He Chang, who had been thinking and silent just now, suddenly looked towards He Chen and asked. You are the only student specially recruited by the dean this year, right? He Chen nodded. Yes, it's me. He Chang was relieved and said to several teammates. Don't be angry, everyone. He Chen was specially recruited by the dean. He must be exceptional. We shouldn't look at his combat power based on his level. Maybe he does have this strength. Several people's expressions were still angry. Zhao Gang said. But, Captain, look at it, he is just an auxiliary profession. No matter how powerful he is, how powerful can he be? He will lead us through the 3-star difficulty level. Do you believe it? He Chang glared him back, and then said apologetically to He Chen. He Chen, please understand. After all, this is our first time forming a team, so it's normal to have doubts. He Chen nodded and said nothing. For the sake of 3,000 battle achievements, he was too lazy to argue with these people. 3 hours later, He Chen arrived in front of the teleportation array as promised, where He Chang and others were already waiting. Seeing He Chen coming, several team members seemed a little disappointed. Just now, they were still discussing whether He Chen would suddenly realize that he would not go to the 3-star difficulty level. After all, as long as his life was alive, nothing would matter. If you lose your life inside, nothing will be lost. But obviously, this small probability event will not happen at all. As He Chen walked into the teleportation array, several people were instantly enveloped in the brilliant space-time channel. The transmission distance this time was relatively long, and it took more than 2 minutes for a few people to leave from the time and space channel. Everyone in He Chang's team squatted on the ground and couldn't recover for a long time. He Chang also looked uncomfortable. This kind of long-distance teleportation was simply torture for them. Ji Yu, give everyone a recovery technique. He Chang said. Ji Yu stood up, resisting the dizziness, and used a healing spell on herself. As a green light emitted from the top of her head, her face finally returned to normal. Call. Ji Yu breathed a long sigh of relief, and the dizziness she felt just now finally disappeared. Then, she nodded towards He Chang. He Chang's head glowed green, and he was full of energy. Ji Yu used recovery techniques on his teammates one after another. When he arrived at He Chen, Ji Yu was stunned for a moment. He Chen's face was calm and his eyes were deep, as if he was not affected at all. This left Ji Yu with nowhere to put the recovery technique he had just prepared, so he had no choice but to use it on He Chang again. Green light emitted from He Chang's head, and he looked at Ji Yu with a puzzled expression. Ji Yu shrugged and motioned for him to look at He Chen. Only then did He Chang realize that He Chen was already exploring the surroundings. Isn't this guy affected at all? He Chang had a strange look on his face. He Chen was obviously lower in level than them, so why did he look better than them? At this time, He Chen turned around. Are you okay? Stop being ink. The monster is coming soon. He Chang and others' faces straightened, and they quickly got into position and prepared to fight. He Chen frowned. What are you doing? He Chang almost didn't react, scratched his head and said. Didn't you say that the monsters are coming soon? We are ready to fight. Who asked you to fight? He Chen shook his head. In the contract, I am the one who will lead you through this level, so what you have to do is to find a safe place to hide. I don't have time to distract you from protecting you. He Chang and others looked at each other. Brother, are you serious? Ji Yu took the lead and ran behind a big rock, stretched out her head and shouted to several teammates. Why are you still standing there? Several teammates looked at her like she was a fool. Why, did you really let him go alone? Several teammates were indifferent, which made Ji Yu anxious to death. She had no choice but to hide behind the rocks and add status to all her teammates first. Light of life, Ji Yu shouted, and everyone's heads, including He Chen's, glowed green. Light of life, HP is restored by 35 points per second for 3 minutes, and other attributes are restored by 2% per second for 3 minutes. Feeling an extremely abundant vitality surging within his body, He Chen nodded slightly. This assistance was not bad. Although there is no way to compare with my own absorption, it can restore my physical strength, which is very beneficial to my long-lasting battle. Soon, the ground began to shake, and some small stones could be seen beating slightly. In the dusty sky in the distance, a group of 10-meter-high dinosaur-shaped monsters with thick hind legs and short forelimbs ran towards them. Gold-eating beast, level 33. Fire-breathing beast, level 33. Good guy, these monsters actually have skills. The Gold Eater is a gray-yellow dinosaur with a mouth of steel teeth that can break through anything and feeds on metal. The Fire-breathing beast is a black and purple dinosaur that can spit out flames with temperatures as high as 1,500 degrees. A rough estimate is that there are at least 100 of these monsters. Joe Sasa stood up first and pushed his hands forward. Many transparent threads seemed to appear in the void. These threads not only limited the movement speed of the dinosaurs and monsters, but also continuously cut wounds on their bodies. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Gang also activated his skills, and countless rays of light shuttled through the battlefield. These rays of light were of different colors and had different effects. The red light will reduce the target's health, the blue light will reduce the target's defense, and the yellow light has a chance of causing a stun effect. But these lights have a positive effect on teammates. Captain He Chang and teammate Zhao Shuai, two highly confrontational main battlers, had already rushed out and took the initiative to fight against the group of Warcraft. I have to say that this team does work well together. Joe Sasa is a long-range attack type, while He Chang and Zhao Shuai are close combat types. With the cooperation of auxiliaries, they will not lose even if they fight against hundreds of monsters. He Chang's weapon is a broad-bladed giant sword. He is extremely powerful. He is obviously a monster of the same level. He can kill one in almost 10 seconds, and this is under the siege of a group of monsters. Basically, he kills a monster with up to 3 attacks. Zhao Shuai is not bad either. He transformed into a huge flame demon. In terms of size, he is no longer weaker than the incoming dinosaur monster. He has a pair of disproportionate fists as big as an excavator, carrying black and red flames. Started a hand-to-hand battle with the dinosaur monster. Looking at the Twilight team fighting together, He Chen sighed with emotion. It was indeed worthy of the Imperial Academy. Such a team could create a huge force in Linzhong. Compared with Ning Yu's Hunting Wind team, Twilight's team's combat power is about 30% higher. For this reason, Twilight's team is not yet ranked among the top 10 of the War Academy. He Chang and Zhao Shuai were very efficient, taking out most of the monsters in just 10 minutes. At this moment, He Chen suddenly raised his head and squinted at the sky. Black shadows gradually emerged, and soon they became like a huge pterosaur like a helicopter. Sky Hunter, level 34. Sky Hunter Elite level 34. There were more than 30 pterodactyl monsters attacking. Because they had control of the air, they were in trouble. He Chang and Zhao Shuai were dwarfed by them. The two of them were gradually losing ground, and their bodies were a little more injured, and they were already thinking of retreating. At this time, a black light curtain fell from the sky, like a giant upside-down bowl, shrouding all the dinosaurs and monsters in it. He Chen took action. With the suppression of the Nether Realm, the speed, strength and other attributes of all dinosaur monsters were greatly reduced. He Chang and Zhao Shuai immediately felt less pressure. They turned back and glanced at He Chen in surprise. This guy's skills are actually domain type. And the suppression effect on monsters is so great. The two of them were overjoyed and began to counterattack the monsters. Immediately afterwards, snowflakes began to fall again in He Chen's domain. The Ice Queen's domains were superimposed, making the movements of all the dinosaurs and monsters slow down, like a movie in slow motion. Now, He Chang and Zhao Shuai were almost laughing. Speak up. Ha ha ha, this field is really great. Why didn't this guy let go earlier? Is he deliberately making fun of us? Under the suppression of He Chen's domain, this group of monsters was no match for He Chang and the others, and they were eliminated in a short time. It wasn't until the last monster was dealt with that He Chang and the two came back with unfulfilled satisfaction. He Chen, why didn't you tell me earlier that you had domain skills? Then our battle wouldn't be so difficult. He Chang said angrily. If He Chen had said that he was so strong, his teammates would definitely not have had that attitude at first. Zhao Shuai also nodded. Now that we have won this level, there is hope. As two people who have fought closely with Warcraft, they both have a deep understanding of He Chen's domain. The domain like a black light curtain shrouded the Warcraft, and the strength of Warcraft dropped by at least 1/3. Coupled with the cooperation of Guu and others, after a battle, there is no consumption at all. Guu was urgently using recovery techniques on his teammates, and peeked at He Chen from time to time. This guy, who doesn't talk much, is really hiding his secrets. Zhou Sasa and Zhao Gang also looked at He Chen with much kinder eyes, no longer as disgusted as before. Throughout the whole process, He Chen just nodded lightly and didn't say much. Haha, where is this? He just used the Nether Realm skill. And the full power of the Nether Realm has not yet been released. To this extent, it would be a bit too ignorant to surprise them like this, right? In fact, He Cheng's team cannot be entirely blamed. The main reason is that He Chen is too abnormal in terms of skills and attributes. Even if he is placed in the War Academy, he is a rare freak in a century. How to arrange the next battle? Zhao Shuai asked. This time, their team's tactical arrangements did not avoid He Chen, and they obviously regarded him as one of their own. He Cheng looked at He Chen. He Chen, you have domain skills. You should be very good at mental power and have a wide range of perception. Once a monster appears, tell us. After we find a favorable terrain, you can release the domain and assist us. He Chen nodded. Good. Since they only regarded him as an assistant, he was happy to be at ease. You can't steal all the limelight yourself, you have to leave some opportunities for others to perform, right? After all, Dragon's Lair is a 3-star difficulty level, covering a huge area. The team traveled dozens of miles before encountering the second group of monsters. What they encountered this time was a group of monsters that looked like Triceratops, but they were covered in a layer of hard scales. At first glance, the defense is extremely high. Ceratopsian, level 34. Ceratopsian, elite level, level 34. Skill, collision. There were only over 50 monsters in this group, which didn't seem to be too difficult, but there was a lake next to it, and that lake always gave He Chen a vague sense of uneasiness. Execute the battle plan, He Cheng whispered. Then he rushed out with Zhao Shuai. At the same time that the group of monsters discovered He Cheng and the others, He Chen released the domain. With the blessing of the domain, He Chen's mental power finally penetrated the lake water and saw the magical beast lurking inside. The corners of He Chen's eyes twitched. There are too many monsters in the lake. Densely packed, one end close to the other, the number starts at least 300. Zerethman, level 35. Zereth Warcraft, elite level, level 35. Immune to 45% ice attribute attacks. Skill, high pressure water column. Skill, electric shock. Such a large number of magical beasts are simply beyond what He Cheng and Zhao Shuai can handle. He Cheng, I advise you to go back. He Chen's figure flashed, appeared next to He Cheng, and said to him. He Cheng looked puzzled. He Chen, don't worry. Although these monsters are thick-skinned, their attack power is average. It only takes 10 minutes for us to deal with them. He Chen shook his head and pulled him to the lake. See for yourself. He Cheng lay down by the lake and took a look, and was immediately startled. I see, so many monsters. Fortunately, these monsters were all in a deep sleep, otherwise they would have been dead if they had escaped. Not far away, Zhao Shuai, who transformed into a flame giant, was still fighting 3-horned dragon monsters with great momentum and rumbling sounds. He Cheng turned pale with fright, and hurriedly ran over, moving the battlefield with Zhao Shuai away from the lake. Half an hour later, He Cheng's team finally finished dealing with the monsters, and they came to the lake again. Looking at this lake, everyone was in trouble. There are too many monsters in the lake. If you choose to walk from the lake, you will definitely disturb the monsters inside. But if they choose to bypass it, it will take them at least 3 hours, and they may encounter a lot of monsters. This lake is really huge. The current route is the best route according to the level guide provided by the Academy. In other words, if they choose to take a detour, they will encounter greater dangers. What should I do? Who has a way to avoid disturbing these monsters? He Cheng asked several people. Zhao Shuai and others scratched their heads and thought about it, but they couldn't think of a way. Guu kept looking at He Chen secretly. Perhaps it was intuition, but she always felt that He Chen would definitely find a solution, but He Chen spoke too little. He only responded a few words when others asked him. He Chen, Ji Yu suddenly said, "You must have a way." He Cheng and others also looked over. He Chen glanced at a few people and said calmly, "If I want to cross this lake without disturbing the monsters, I can do it myself, but I can't take you with me." With the help of the domain, He Chen can already hover in the air like a strong person above level 50. He can go to the other side of the lake without touching it. But he couldn't take others with him. He Cheng and the others were a little disappointed and sighed silently. "We have come this far, it would be a shame to give up. But if you can't think of a way, you can only give up temporarily and come back when you think of a way." At this time, He Chen spoke again. "But there is more than one way to cross this lake. It is not impossible to alert those monsters." Everyone turned their heads suddenly. Ji Yu laughed. "I knew this guy must have something up his sleeve. He Chen, tell me quickly, what do you want to do? We will cooperate with you." She directly made the decision for He Cheng, but He Cheng didn't care, because if he didn't want to give up, the only one he could count on now was He Chen. He Chen shook his head. "I have already told you the solution. Just find a place to hide and I will come." Although he was very relaxed in this fighting mode, it was too time-consuming. At this speed, it would probably be dark by the time this level was over. He Cheng and others looked at each other in confusion, but after seeing the powerful power of He Chen's domain skills, they did not directly reject it like before. After discussing for a while, they decided to believe He Chen. He Cheng said, "He Chen, then you try, but don't force it. If it doesn't work, call us to take action immediately. Don't be polite." He Chen nodded. In essence, he does not dislike the people in He Cheng's team. Although they have never believed in him, most of them are cautious. When the critical moment comes, they will not sit idly by. The team is still very cohesive. There is no such person as Sisley. He Chen gestured to a few people, then found an open space and released the territory. A monster appeared in the field, this time it was the goblin leader. In fact, the level of the goblin leader has completely failed to keep up with He Chen, but its skills are so useful that He Chen can't bear to throw them away. The tactic He Chen wanted to use was demonic pollution. He had used this tactic during the trial of the small world, and the effect was amazing. But the Warcraft at that time was not the same as it is now, and the efficiency of magic pollution was also greatly reduced. There is no way, if the quality is not good, we can only make up for it with quantity. Under the summons of the goblin leader, goblins with traces of evil energy lingering around their heads kept appearing. He Chen spent a third of his mental power to let the goblin leader summon thousands of demonized goblins. Looking at the huge goblin army, He Cheng and others' jaws almost dropped. "My dear, what kind of skill is this? Isn't it too perverted? Although the level is a little lower, but in terms of quantity, even summoners can't beat them, right? This kid is really hiding something secret. No matter how many goblins there are, given their level, they may not be able to fight so many monsters, right? Don't worry, maybe he has other trump cards that he hasn't revealed yet." He Chen ignored them and went deep into the lake to wake up the monsters. At the same time, all the demonized goblins rushed towards the lake like dumplings. The monsters in the lake rioted and stood up one after another, causing the water level of the lake to drop several meters in an instant. Just as He Cheng and others expected, the goblins were almost completely unable to cause any harm to the Zareth monsters. Instead, they were swallowed up one by the Zareth monsters like they were stealing food. It has become a large-scale nesting scene. The goblin army was indeed unable to cause effective damage to the Zareth monsters in the lake. Instead, it was like stealing food, causing the group of monsters in the lake to start a feast. But He Chen didn't panic at all. He Cheng and the others were almost dying of anxiety. They unconsciously clenched the weapons in their hands with anxious expressions. Once the monster broke out of the lake, they would immediately pounce on it. But gradually, some unexpected changes seemed to have taken place in the lake. The Zareth monsters near the shore ate a lot. They ate one goblin in one mouthful, and then ate a dozen of them in succession. The Zareth monsters behind them couldn't eat them, so they kept pushing their way up. At this time, the Zareth monster that had eaten a lot in front suddenly turned around and bit its kind. And there are many such cases. There were at least dozens of Zareth monsters in the entire lake. Their eyes turned scarlet, their bodies exuded a faint black aura, and they became extremely manic. They were biting wildly at their own kind, as if they had deep hatred. For a moment, all the Zareth monsters in the lake were stunned and scattered. But these crazy Zareth monsters still refused to let go and chase their kind. This can arouse the anger of the Zareth monster group. They have no similar concepts. They only have a simple group consciousness. They stay together and attack in groups. Nowadays, if there are monsters that dare to attack me, even if they are of the same kind, they will fight back mercilessly. Under the siege of a group of zealous monsters that were several times the number of those crazy monsters, dozens of crazy Zareth beasts were eaten directly and became food in the bellies of their kind. Before they could turn around and attack those humans who dared to invade, dozens more Zareth monsters began to go crazy. But this time, there were obviously a lot less crazy monsters. There is no way the efficiency of magic pollution decreases successively. He Chen saw that the magic pollution level of many Zareth monsters stayed between 50% and 70%, and then stagnated. It took a few minutes. Grow a little. Some of the monsters at the back had demonic contamination levels that were less than 10%, and their pollution progress bars remained motionless for a long time. It's time to mend the nest. He Chen muttered. It seemed that he wanted to find a replacement monster for the goblin leader as soon as possible, but there was no way. The level gap was too big, the role of the goblin monster was getting smaller and smaller, and it could no longer keep up with him. He Chen asked the goblin leader to start summoning again. As goblins jumped into the lake one after another and took the initiative to feed, the Zareth monster, which was still ready to move before, started its gluttonous feast again. The demonic pollution progress bar on their heads began to grow rapidly again. Gradually, more and more monsters went crazy, and the lake became a mess. All the monsters struggled together and bit each other. It's impossible to tell which one is crazy and which one is normal. Anyway, all the monsters are crazy. No matter which monster it is, for whatever reason, whether intentionally or unintentionally, if it bumps into you, you must go over and teach the other person a lesson. The lake surface was churning violently. Under this fighting situation, the Zareth monsters could no longer care about rushing to the shore to teach the humans a lesson. As more and more Zareth monsters died, the lake gradually turned red. Kill Zalazman, experience value plus 2730. Kill the Zareth monster, experience plus 3300. The beep kept sounding. He Chang and his party stood by the lake in confusion, listening to the prompts that kept coming, with complicated expressions. This wave of experience points is really coming. It's so cool. Is this what it feels like to be taken along? Now, they no longer had any doubts about He Chen's plan to take them through customs. They do have that strength. It's because they themselves are short-sighted. Several people couldn't help but blush when they remembered their previous attitude towards He Chen. Fortunately, He Chen was generous and didn't argue with them. At this time, the churning of the lake had become much smaller, which meant that the monsters inside were getting smaller and smaller, and the entire lake turned red. He Chen looked at the lake in front of him, but an idea gradually came to his mind. It would be a pity if so much blood was wasted. If you can collect them all and use your altar of the undead skill, the power will be very terrifying. When you encounter the boss, there is a high probability that you can kill it with one hit. But there is too much water in the lake. Even if He Chang and others have storage space type props, they can't hold much. By the way, what will happen if the altar of the undead is not targeted? He Chen suddenly came up with a bold idea. How about using the altar of the undead to try to collect blood? He just did it. His domain continued to deepen, and his mental power enveloped the bottom of the lake. With a thought, the blood in the lake turned into red mist and began to rise. A blood-colored altar 4 to 5 meters high quickly took shape, emitting heart-stopping energy fluctuations. After the altar is formed, it seems to be frozen. On the altar, the bloody priest raised his hand, but because he had no target, it hovered in midair. He Chen's eyes lit up. Sure enough, it can. In this case, he can use this skill to store blood and continuously increase the power of the altar of the undead. Soon, He Chen drained the blood from the lake, making the lake surface clear and sparkling again. There were not many monsters left in the lake, only a few dozen were still struggling. He Chen used Drain to restore his attributes and status while accelerating their death. Finally, the last Xerath monster died completely, and the dense corpses of Xerath monsters covered the bottom of the lake. These monster corpses will always be deposited here, but if this level is knocked down and turned into a copy, they will all disappear when the copy is refreshed. He Chen retracted the domain and only maintained it within a few meters of himself. He could not remove the domain, otherwise, the effect of the altar of the undead would also disappear. Turning around, He Chen said to several people, "Okay, let's go." Only then did He Chang and the others come back to their senses. When they looked at He Chen, there was already a little awe in their eyes unconsciously. This is the instinctive reaction in the heart when facing a strong person. In the previous battle, He Chen was already a real strong man in their eyes. Moreover, it is ridiculously strong. I made a lot of money this time. He Chang was very excited. He glanced at several teammates and saw that their faces were also full of excitement. He Chen is so powerful, so it will be safe to pass this level. The team crossed the lake and moved forward again. When encountering several waves of monsters later, He Chang and others stood behind He Chen knowingly, and He Chen didn't waste any time. The area covered them, and more than 50 elite ghost monsters attacked frantically. With the suppression of He Chen's domain, even if the number of monsters encountered is larger than the ghost monsters, the battle can be resolved quickly. After all, ghost monsters are immortal. As long as He Chen has enough mental power, he can keep summoning them. Moreover, when he encounters more powerful monsters, He Chen will replace weaker ghost monsters, which makes his ghost monster group continue to increase in strength. After 3 hours of fighting, they defeated more than 2,000 monsters and finally arrived at the location of the boss. Dragon's Lair. Attack the Dragon's Lair, and monsters will continue to appear. Destroy the Dragon's Lair, ordinary monsters stop appearing, and the boss wakes up. So we must destroy the Dragon's Lair as soon as possible, otherwise, there will be endless monsters. He Chen thought about it and looked at He Chang and others. You have to help this time. Although his ghost monster group is not weak in strength, in terms of explosive power, the professionals are naturally better. He Chen wanted to destroy the nest in the shortest possible time, so it was necessary for He Chang and others to join the battle. You feel free to attack, but I will hold back any monsters that appear. Regarding He Chen's arrangements, He Chang and others had no objections. Now, they were already following He Chen. As the first attack landed on the nest flashed, and 7 or 8 mammoth-like monsters suddenly appeared. Before these monsters could attack He Chang and others, He Chen's group of ghost monsters pounced on them. Seeing this, He Chang and the others no longer hesitated. The 3 main battle professions, whose skills seemed to be free of charge, kept bombarding the nest. Ji Yu constantly adds status to his teammates and enhances the power of their skills. While Zhao Gang was applying buff to his teammates, he was also bombarding the nest with skills. Under the combined attack of the team, the durability of the nest dropped quickly. But then, more and more monsters appeared, and soon they formed a dense pile in front of the lair. Even He Chen's group of ghost monsters had a hard time blocking them. He Chen activated the Nether Realm at full power, and the Ice Queen's domain was superimposed, which greatly slowed down the speed of the monsters, and then he could barely protect the rear of He Chang and others. Seeing that the situation was getting more and more critical, He Chang and others became anxious. They took out their trump cards from the bottom of the box, filled their mouths with potions that temporarily increased attribute values, and attacked the nest desperately. Finally, with a collapse sound that sounded like the earth was shattering, the nest shattered. A giant dragon that was over 30 meters tall and resembled a small mountain appeared in front of everyone. The giant dragon is bloated, with a pair of disproportionately short wings on its back. Not only the wings, but also the limbs are also very short. The 2 front paws are simply pocket-size versions. Compared with the huge size, they actually look cute. Although the 2 feet are short, they are very wide, allowing it to stand firmly on the ground. A dozen monsters that had no time to dodge were crushed to death by it. Dragon, level 35, boss level monster. Skill, Dragon Domain. The power of skills in the field increases by 15%, the dodge rate increases by 15%, and the defense of all dragon creatures increases by 35%. Skill, Dragon's Fury. The dragon roars and causes a large-scale attack. Targets within the range receive high damage of 30% of the maximum health value and cannot dodge. Cooling time, 30 minutes. You actually have domain skills. He Chen looked at the hill-like giant dragon boss in front of him and salivated. By taking this guy in, the power of his nether realm will be increased. Before the dragon could expand its territory, He Chen's netherworld covered it first. At the same moment, the dragon raised its head, opened its mouth, and its belly suddenly bulged. Roar! A deafening roar instantly covered the battlefield, as if substantial sound waves spread from the dragon boss's mouth like ripples, with a range of hundreds of meters. Including He Chen, everyone in He Cheng's team suddenly lost a lot of blood. Fortunately, no one had participated in the battle much before and their blood volume was full. Otherwise, this attack could kill a group of professionals instantly. He Chen's face was filled with surprise. The stronger the dragon, the more he likes it. Regardless of the field, he was very surprised by this large-scale indiscriminate attack. Moreover, he also discovered that the dragon's fury skill can also trigger the state of immobility, which is extremely likely. The dragon's wrath that lasted for 5 seconds finally ended. He Cheng and the others were all panting, with blood dripping from the corners of their mouths. When they looked at the boss, there was deep fear in their eyes. I had known for a long time that the BOSS was a tough nut to crack, but I didn't expect it to be so ridiculously strong. They looked at He Chen subconsciously. Now, we can only see if He Chen can do anything about it. Otherwise, if the mission fails, they will most likely lose their lives here. He Chen's face was calm. He was admittedly injured, but it didn't matter. Because he will kill all the monsters here right away. The domain was spread out, and there was already a bloody altar more than 10 meters high, exuding the aura of destruction. Along the way, He Chen continued to collect blood, pushing the power of the altar of the undead to a point where it could instantly kill any monster below level 50. On the altar, the bloody priest held the holy book of the dead in his hand, pointed at the dragon boss with his raised hand, and slowly descended. After the priest's hand fell completely, the altar disappeared directly. At the same time, all the monsters, including the dragon boss, stiffened and fell straight to the ground. How much blood is in the altar will drain the target's blood. This skill seems to be silent, but it will kill all the monsters instantly. Kill the level 35 dragon boss, experience plus 25,000. Clear the 3-star level, dragon's lair. Necklace, Whisper of Venus purple quality can be used at level 35. Gloves, Grandmaster gloves blue quality can be used above level 35. Dragon's scales 10. Dragon's magic crystal 1. Seeing what the dragon boss exploded, He Cheng and others' eyes widened, and then they burst into wild laughter. It's been done. Ha ha ha, so many things. There is actually a piece of magic crystal. This time we have fully recovered our money. Seeing He Chen's confusion, Gu explained. The dragon's magic crystal is a very precious enchanting material. As long as it is handed over to the enchanter, it can be made into enchanted beads with very little effort. It can greatly improve equipment and weapons, and the recycling price of the academy is very high, with a total of 3,000 military exploits. He Chen was also a little surprised. No wonder He Cheng was so excited. After all, just such a magic crystal was enough to pay He Chen's reward this time. In addition, the team's overall gains this time are also extremely gratifying. The monsters killed along the way earned more than 2,300 combat merits. The value of the equipment and materials is about 500 battle credits. Of course, it can also be sold to the exchange for at least 1 million crystal coins. The recycling price of that purple outfit is about 800 merit points. Including the magic crystals, that is to say, the overall benefit of this team is about 6,600 points of combat merit. He Chen is a 0-time member of the team, 1/6 of it, which is 1,100 points. In addition to the reward for leading the team, which is 3,000 battle merits, his profit this time is a full 4,100 points. After the combat merit transfer, everyone in He Cheng's team still had 2,500 combat merit points, which were divided equally among the 5 of them, with each person receiving 500 points. Although it wasn't much, they were very satisfied. After all, they were there to lose money in the first place. Unexpectedly, After completing the level and discovering so many things, not only did they not lose any money, they also made a lot of money. Combat merit is only one aspect. After beating a 3-star difficulty level, their team's ranking will be stable. When the Academy settles the accounts and distributes rewards, it will also be a big profit. They initially wanted to lose money to complete the level, just for this reason. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.